I'm on the stream page of YouTube, and nothing's really popping up. So, oh, there we go. All right, we're good. Or at least I think so.
Yeah, I don't see it yet, but that might just be like.
Yeah, we're live. We're live. All right, we're here, man. Super Wild Card Weekend Eve. Joined here with a friend of mine, AsRaidersDubsSharks YouTube channel. That's the name of the channel. So, yeah, I mean, we're just gonna be sitting on here for a little bit talking about the wild card games. You know, tomorrow's gonna be a long day. It's gonna be a fun day for football fans, regardless of if your team's in the playoffs or not. And let's just talk about it a little bit. You know what I mean? Get everybody a bit hyped up. It's a big deal. It's like once a year this stuff comes around. It's exciting times.
Yep.
So.
Yeah, I mean, like. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I don't have anything. Go for it.
I mean, yeah, like we've really never seen anything like this. Like it's called Super Wild Card this year for a reason. You know, like the extension of the playoffs. Like I know that it's gotten some controversy, but you know, you got to admit it's going to be like a lot more exciting.
For sure.
Yeah, we're going to have like a lot more close games. Teams want to get to the, you know, like we have the 1 seed now. It's not the 1 and 2 seed get the buys, so teams are desperate. I think it's just going to be really interesting to see, you know. But
for sure.
Yeah, hopefully we have some good games out there. But yeah.
All right, so we have shows 3 viewers right now. Got a people in the chat here. We got another Raiders fan in the chat. So
yeah. Yeah.
All right,
yeah, I am a Northern California fan.
All right, yeah, man. 4 viewers, 1 like. All right, not a bad start, not a bad start. All right, let's get right into it, man. Like let's go in depth, all these games, predictions, thoughts, you know, everything. All right, so, you know, first game, top left of the screen, we got Browns at Steelers.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, I think these teams they obviously don't like each other. I mean, Cleveland won in Week 17, but obviously the Steelers weren't playing their starters. I think it's going to be a close one regardless. I mean, if I had to make a prediction, I'm saying Steelers by 6, but I think it's going to be a fought-out game, and I could go either way.
Yeah. Let's see. We got 2 Raiders fans in the chat, and then 1 on stream. So we got like 3 Raiders fans in total here. Raider Nation showing up. Yeah, I remember you, Aaron. I remember you. My boy Kanav. Oh my god, dude. Kanav, get on. All right, Kanav. Do you have Discord? If so, link that shit. I will get you in. All right. So basically, those who don't know Kanav, right? He's in my fantasy football. He actually won my fantasy football league this year. Not too long ago, we made a bet that I was very confident in. Now that I'm not so much in. So he's a huge Packers fan. We made a bet that if Mahomes wins the MVP, he has to get the Mahomes haircut. But if Rodgers wins, I have to get an Aaron Rodgers haircut. I was pretty confident in it. Then the last 3 weeks happened, and then Rodgers just freaking skyrocketed. So it looks like I'm gonna have to get an Aaron Rodgers cut. So I wasn't very good on that bet, but yeah, no, Kanav, he's great. If we can get him in at some point, I'd love to do that. So we got a couple people in the chat. That's great. So, yeah, man. Aaron, yeah, dude. People gotta be like turning on. I mean, this is quality content, like you said, man. Like, share it with your friends, man. Like, just send the link to your mom, send it to your dad, send it to your grandma. I mean, send it to everybody you know, man. We gotta talk about some playoffs here.
Yeah, I'm gonna.
What'd you say?
I'm gonna go post it, and hopefully we can get some more people in here.
All right, like, cool.
We gotta, tune into this.
All right, so we were talking about Browns and Steelers. All right, here's my take on it. You know what I mean? So hear me out, right? The Browns played the Steelers last week. The Browns barely beat them in Cleveland with Mason Rudolph. And don't forget that, you know, the Steelers failed a 2-point conversion, which would have been a tied game at the end. So, I mean, they barely won against Mason Rudolph in Cleveland. And if you remember the first meeting between the Steelers and the Browns that was in Pittsburgh, that was back in week 3, the final score was like 38-10. It was a blowout. On top of that, the Browns are without like 5 of their coaches, including their head coach, because of COVID, meaning that Baker Mayfield's going to have to lead the offense, call the offensive plays for this game. The way I see it, the Browns are screwed. I got the Steelers by at least 15.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, I mean, the only reason I said Steelers by 6 is because I think this could get it to be an ugly game because both teams have had issues. You know, you talked about the Browns, the Steelers. My turning point was them losing to Cincinnati. You know, Cincinnati is like, they don't have Joe Burrow or anything. They weren't going to make the playoffs anyway. But I agree with you. I think, you know, the Browns are inexperienced, and I don't see them winning. But I think it could be potentially, for at least part of the game, a close game. But, you know, we'll see.
I'm working on getting Kanav up in here, so can you carry on the the talking for me here?
Yeah, and I mean, yeah. And I think, you know, you got to remember, this is pretty much a bye week for Big Ben and most of the starters. So they're going to be fresh. You know, same with it's pretty much 2 weeks off. So that, like, the Chiefs are going to be ready as a comparison. But I think Pittsburgh, I don't see them losing this, but, you know, it's the playoffs, it's the wild card. Anything could happen. But, you know, I'm saying Steelers by at least 6. At the least, and probably at the most, probably 14. But we'll see, though. It's going to be a good one. And like I said, the Browns are inexperienced. Like most of they're a young team. Now you look at Baker Mayfield. These guys do not have playoff experience. I mean, they're, with all due respect, they're a great football team. But you know, we just got to make sure, or they got to make sure that they have the experience to, you know, if they do win the game, you know, it's not easy going out there.
Dude, how do I find my Discord tag? I have no idea. All right. Yeah, because it should be like a username, and then it should be followed with a pound, and then. All right, can you just type that in our chat so I can send it?
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah, it's I got you. 3271. I'll type it in. The hashtag.
Sweet. Oh man. Okay, hold on. I don't even need that anymore. All right. Well, so go on.
Yeah. And like, it's exciting for me also because like, obviously, you know, the playoffs this year are gonna be kind of boring for me. Obviously, as a Raiders fan, not boring, but less exciting than usual. Yeah. And so I think, you know, this is a divisional game. We got to remember. But I feel like whenever there's divisional games in the playoffs, anything can happen. Look at Cincinnati and Pittsburgh a couple years ago. That game was crazy. And, you know, like these teams, they do not like each other. They've seen each other twice this year. So I think it could go either way, but I'm still sticking.
Oh, boy. Cut you off, Casey. I'm sorry. Hold up. I just cut you off. I'm sorry.
Oh, no, you're good. You're good.
Kanav!
Yeah.
What up, Brett?
All right, so this is my boy Kanav, everybody. He's a big Packers fan, the champion of my fantasy football league, man. He's repping his Rodgers jersey, man. Get out of here with that, man. All right, actually, hold on. Let me make a fix to this stream. I'm gonna get rid of my face cam, and then I'm gonna turn my camera on Discord here, so that way everybody can see everybody. All right, cool. Sweet. All right, man. Let's just get talking with it. What's up, Kanav? What do you have?
What up, man? I don't know how far y'all got in, but
no, we're on our first game still, man. Cleveland versus Pittsburgh.
Dude, that's tough, yo. I mean, all right, considering they had Mason Rudolph and they only won by 2 points, I got Steelers in this by at least 10. Because remember when the first time they matched up, it was a blowout, bro.
I mean, that's what I'm saying, man. I'm saying, like, they barely won in Cleveland last week against Mason Rudolph. Barely won. So, I mean, I don't see how they're going to do that 2 weeks in a row.
Definitely.
Yeah, bro.
So, all right.
Somehow, like, the coach, like,
Yeah, they all got COVID. All of them.
Yeah, I know, bro.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't see them. I just don't. It's with the COVID situation. It's just it's so unpredictable, you know. But I just I see Steelers by at least from 6 to 14 points deficit. Steelers by that amount.
Yeah.
All right. Well, what do we have? Colts Bills. Let's hear it, guys. Start off with you, Kanav.
Oh, dude, this is gonna be a blowout, and I feel bad for any Colts fans out there because
Really?
this is not gonna be fun. So they got the spread at I think Buffalo minus 6.5. It's gonna be way worse. Colts defense, yeah, like
Think so?
top 3, top 5. Consider
Mm.
it's like top 3, top 5. I'd give him that. But Josh Allen, bro, coming in the last 5 weeks, he's outperformed every QB in the NFL. His offense has been number 1 in every statistical category since week 12. Like they coming in super hot fire. Yo, you remember the Titans last year when Derrick Henry caught fire in week 16, week 17, when Ryan Tannehill caught fire. They went in, they pulled an upset on Patriots, they pulled an upset on the Ravens.
Who do they lose to?
I see Bills by at least 15, maybe even more. You saw what they did to the Dolphins.
Yeah.
56 to like 26 or something like that.
All right, Casey, what do you got?
Yeah. I say I'm going with the Bills with the win. I'm gonna have to disagree. That's gonna be a blowout per se. I think it's gonna be Bills by 9. Kind of a random amount, but I'm gonna say 28-19, kind of a random score. But I'd say both these teams want to make it regardless. Like Philip Rivers, he's kind of reaching the end of the tunnel. He's gonna be he's gonna definitely try his hardest out there to win it. And like the Colts have that great defense. And I agree that Buffalo's going to win. It's an unpredictable game. Like both teams are really good, but I do see Buffalo as a far better team. Josh Allen's looking like pretty much close to an MVP candidate, or he is an MVP candidate, right? And then Stephon Diggs, just unstoppable out there. So I'm saying 28-19 Bills.
I'm kind of with you on this one. I don't agree that it's gonna be a blowout because hear me out, right? The Colts have been under the weather all year long. Like they've been good and nobody's been talking about them. And they have a good defense too. So I don't think they're going to win the game. I think the Bills have it in the bag. But I don't think it's going to be a blowout. I think it'll be by 7 or 10. No more than 10.
I think that if the Bills could stop the run, then it could be a blowout. But that Bills rush defense has not been productive all season. Their pass game with Tre'Davious White and Micah Hyde at safety, that's been pretty good, right? Like their pass game has been pretty strong. They held Russell Wilson to 4 interceptions. I'm pretty sure it was 4 or 3. They stopped many powerhouses, right, in offense, but that rush defense is pathetic, right? Probably, I think they're ranked 15th overall in rush defense, and so if Jonathan Taylor and Naheem Hines, if they could go off, then it's gonna be a lot closer game. But I don't see Colts winning in any scenario.
I mean, I don't think I'd be totally shocked if the Colts won, but I think I'd be a bit surprised.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think if the Colts win it, I'd see them as maybe a Super Bowl contender. It's going to be Colts Chiefs matchup would be great, if that ends up happening.
Hope it happens.
We'll just
Yeah. All right. Well, what's the next game? Let me put the faces in the middle here. All right. Cool. So next game we have, Ravens Titans. Want to start us off, Casey?
Yeah, it's a rematch of last year, which is kind of interesting. And I think it's really just going to be the story of Derrick Henry for the Titans. Like that's kind of stating the obvious, but I just don't think very stoppable. But the Ravens, like we can't forget Lamar. He's a really great quarterback out there. It's going to be a close one. I'm going to say Titans win by 4. I'm going to say 24-20 Titans, and it's going to come down to the final minutes. Derrick Henry, I think, is going to rush for just an outrageous number, close to a record in a playoff game.
Kanav?
I got a 4-point spread, but I think it's the other way. I think Ravens will win, just because that Ravens defense, right, or that Titans defense is not been good. Like you saw them allow like 40+ points to the Packers. What are scores? I can't think off the top of my head. But that defense right, is not good. And Lamar Jackson, J.K. Dobbins, both number 1 and number 2, right? Lamar Jackson 1, J.K. Dobbins number 2 in yards per attempt, right? I think they're sitting at like 8.9 or somewhere in the 8 area, right? So I think the Ravens will run all over the Titans, and when it comes to pass, that secondary is not good either. So Marquise Brown on the deep ball, Boykin, Mark Andrews, I think those are going to be a big factor, right? But Lamar scrambling, it's gonna be a field day for Ravens. But I still got Titans keeping it close because Ryan Tannehill, probably top 3 quarterbacks in the past couple weeks, or past 5-6 weeks. I think he's a top 3, top 5 quarterback. And then Derrick Henry running wild, right? You saw against the Texans. But Ravens have a top 5 defense, top 6 maybe. But I think it's a close game. I got Ravens 27-23.
All right. Well, these two teams, they've played each other 4 separate occasions in the playoffs together. The road team has won every single time. So, I don't know how much you want to look into that, because some analytics are just stupid. That could be seen as one of them. But I do have the Ravens going on the road and winning this game. Because, rematch from last year. I think the Titans are good. I don't think their defense is all that great. And I'm not big on Lamar. I've never been big on Lamar. But I think that he gets over the hump this time. I think he wins his first playoff game. I think it'll be a close game. And I could see it going either way. I think most people could see it going either way. It'll be a close game. But I think at the end of it, I got Ravens by 3.
Yeah, that's fair. If we see the same Lamar Jackson we did at the end of the Cleveland game a couple weeks back, I personally was rooting for Cleveland because it was going to help the Raiders' chances. But, Lamar, I just got to give respect for Lamar on that. I mean, he did, after coming out of the bathroom, that dude was insane. We'll see. I mean, it's going to be close. I wouldn't be surprised if the Ravens won, but I'm just going to go ahead and stick with the Titans just because, I don't see it being a total remake of last year's game, but I'd see that the Titans are up by 4 or 3 at the end.
Yeah, I think that's... What is the spread? Do you know, Kanav?
Ravens, Titans, I think...
It's probably like 3. It's probably like Ravens by 3.
Yeah.
Let me pull up the ESPN.
Right?
Oh, that just happened to Kanav. All right, so the Ravens are favored by 4.5.
Okay, yeah. I that's a pretty fair spread. But we'll see. Like I said, it's going to be a close one. Yeah, that's definitely a realistic outcome.
Yeah. All right, well, I was looking down on my phone. I look up, and Kanav is just gone. I don't know what happened to him. Oh, there he is.
My brother came in.
Okay. All right, well, next game we have LA at Seattle. I'll start this one off. Ladies and gentlemen, this is my upset of the week. I got the Rams over the Seahawks, man. And I'll tell you why, all right? Because the Seahawks have played the Rams, twice, as they do every year. They split it 1-1. It's still up in the air who's starting this game. I don't know if there's been an update on that, but I know Jared Goff has been injured. But I know the Rams lost to the Jets, and that's embarrassing, and that's a chip on the shoulder. They gotta come back from that, man. So what I'm saying, right, is I think this is the upset of the week. I think the Rams beat the Seahawks by at least 3. I think it'll be a pretty determining game. I mean, I don't know. A lot of people got the Seahawks, but the Seahawks defense just isn't that good. LA might have a backup quarterback in, but my gut's just telling me. It's been telling me all week. Rams are winning this game. So that's my upset of the week, man.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with you, bro. I got Los Angeles. Los Angeles favored 3.5, or they're plus 3.5, right? But I think that it's gonna be really close. I think it's gonna be a close game. But when you look at the stat line, right? So Wilson, he was arguably leading the first couple weeks of the season, right? But ever since week 10, he's 12th in completion percentage, 24th in pass yards per game, 13th in pass touchdown, and 19th in passer rating, right? So when you think about that, combined with the Rams' #1 defense overall throughout the NFL, right? I think that it's not going to be a blowout for the Rams just because Jared Goff's not playing well, or he's not playing with a hand, right? He has a broken thumb or whatever, and so they might get John Wolford in as snaps, but still you have Cam Akers running the ball wild recently. You have that defense stepping up, causing turnovers, scoring on defense, right? So I think the Rams and Seahawks will keep it close. I got 24-20 Rams over Seahawks.
Yeah, I'm actually going to agree with that. I'd say LA is going to win this because, it's just the defense. I think about it. Aaron Donald is pretty much unstoppable unless you're having 3 guys guard him, which, isn't really realistic. I guess it's a little bit biased because I'm pulling for the Rams to win the Super Bowl. They're kind of considered my second favorite team, but I'd say LA wins 17-10.
Wow.
I just say
everybody wrote for the Rams here.
Yeah, I think their defense, if they can hold them to 10 points, that's going to hold them to victory. And Cam Akers is coming back off an injury, so he's going to be fresh. And who knows what's going to happen with the quarterback situation? If Jared Goff can, prove that he's the quarterback that they want on this franchise as a leader, I think they can win this. And like you said, losing to the Jets was embarrassing, but I think they're going to come back strong.
Man, I thought I was crazy for picking them, but we got 3 for 3 here. I mean, I I don't know. It's a division game, so I don't see it being a blowout. I mean, look at the Chiefs Browns, Chiefs Broncos. We barely beat them in Arrowhead this year. The Raiders beat the Chiefs almost twice. They beat us once, almost beat us twice. I mean, it's just a division thing. It doesn't matter how good or bad the teams are. It's always going to be a close game. I mean, unless you're the Buccaneers playing the Saints, but I feel like for the most part, divisional games are always close. But, they split the season series 1-1. I think LA comes on top.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
All right, man. Next game, Bears-Saints.
I guess I'll go ahead and talk about it a little bit. Yeah. I know a lot of people have been talking about like the Bears pulling an upset, but I don't see Drew Brees losing this. I mean, the dude really wants to win another Super Bowl ring. The Saints are hungry for a ring. Alvin Kamara, arguably one of the best running backs. And the Bears, they have looked promising, but you got to remember they haven't played the best teams the last couple weeks, although they've won some games. So I got the Saints 24-13. 11 points. I feel like it is a comfortable lead for the Saints there. I don't see too much of a action-filled game, but I got the Saints winning this.
What about you, Kanav?
Yeah, people are saying it's gonna be a blowout, right? They got Bears plus 9.5, right? So they're gonna think that it's gonna be a blowout, right? I think it's gonna be really close. As much as I want the Bears to win, because then we'd play them in the divisional round, I have to go with the Saints, bro. I'm gonna keep it close too, because Roquan Smith's coming off, I think, his injury. Khalil Mack's been pretty good recently, right? And if they could get pressure to Drew Brees, right? If they could pressure, even scare him, right? Drew Brees had that couple like that injury back a while, right? If they could scare him with pressure, I think he'll fall underneath that pressure, right? But I don't trust that Bears offense to do anything against that Saints. That Saints defense, top 3, right? No one could trust the Bears offense. Mitchell Trubisky's been struggling. The play calling has been on and off, right? So I think the Saints win it, but I think it's about a 4 or 5 point difference. I got 28-24.
Yeah, so I got the Saints by 30 here, and I'm not even joking. I mean that might be a hot take, but listen, man. So hear me out, right? You mentioned Drew Brees. I mean, there's rumors of him retiring after the year. So I mean, man's getting screwed every year by the refs or some bullshit play at the end of the game. He's getting screwed every playoff run. But I mean, this is the 1 year, right? It might be his last year. He's gonna be motivated to show up. You know what I mean? The Bears shouldn't have been a playoff team, in my opinion. They're only in because of the expanded bracket. 8-8, I think, was the record. That's horrible. So, listen, man. if you wanna bet it safe, man, people got it. Maybe like a 7-point, 10-point game. Nah, man. I'm gonna just go on a limb and say this is gonna be a 30-point difference. Like that might be one of the hottest takes, but I mean I stand by it. I just don't see it being a close competition at all.
Bro, you crazy, bro. You remember earlier in the season? You remember earlier in the season? They played in Chicago. It was 30-27. They took them all the way to overtime.
Nah, it's gonna be different this time, man.
48-yarder field goal to win the game. They kept it close, man. I see them keeping it close, but I don't see them winning in the dome.
Look. I might be pushing with 30, but at least 20. At least 20.
Nah, it's gonna be close.
That's my pick. That's my pick. At least 20.
I'll be rooting for the Bears.
Yeah, man. Well, I mean, look.
I know I mentioned like Drew Brees. Sorry.
No, you go ahead.
I mean, I kind of compare this to Peyton Manning, situation. He had one ring, and I just don't see Drew Brees losing to the Bears. I mean, I don't know if the Saints are per se like a Super Bowl contender at this point. We'll see what happens in this game. But I see him winning by at least 11 to 15, maybe 20 points at the most.
Yeah, I mean, people like NFL Network analysts and people giving real predictions, every single time you look at it, man, it's the same stuff over and over. It's going to be it's going to be a close game, man. It's going to be 7, 10 points. It's the same thing as when they're predicting games like Chiefs-Jets. It's Chiefs will win 27-20. And it's that's not going to happen. So, I mean, I got to be the guy who actually steps up and makes big predictions. I don't want to be the same guy who's just picking close games for every game. Nah, man, Saints by at least 20. At least 20.
Bro, if you want to call it upset, you gotta call the Bills in close. Or not an upset. If you want to call it a big point differential, then you go with Bills in close.
I'm telling you, Colts-Bills is gonna be closer than people expect. That's just.
If their defense could step up, if they're motivated, if their offense could figure out things in this next what is today's Friday? In the next 10 hours, or no, in the next day because they play on Sunday, they can figure it out, man. I have a close game, but I think Saints will pull through because Bears always choke.
Bears do always choke. I mean,
yeah, Cody Parkey.
I don't care what you say. He is the most accurate kicker in NFL history, man. To be able to hit the post that many times.
Yeah, double door.
Yeah, that's impressive.
Yeah. Nah, man. I think Colts-Bills will be closer than people think, and I think Saints-Bears will be not as close as people think. So, I mean...
Yeah, I got to agree with that.
I mean, people like to make close predictions for every game. They like to go with the favorites in every game. Nah, there's going to be upsets. I think we have to accept that. There's going to be upsets, as there are every year at some point in the playoffs. So, I mean, I guess our round one upset here, I think we're all agreeing, Rams over Seahawks.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right.
It's going to be a good one.
All right. Well, last game we have for Super Wildcard Weekend, which is tomorrow night. Buccaneers versus the Washington Red and White football team. Nah, so what?
My hat.
What?
I could have brought out I have a Redskins hat.
Ah, nice.
Yeah.
I want to get a football team shirt or something. Man, that's such a meme. All right, let's get into it, man. Buccaneers versus the football team.
Yeah. I'm gonna. As much as I'd like the football team to win, I got the Buccaneers by 13. However, I think Mike Evans is questionable, so that could make an effect on the game. But seeing Tom Brady play the Raiders this year, I mean, obviously the Raiders don't have a very below average defense. So, I don't know. I just don't see Tom Brady losing the wild card again, second year in a row. The offense for the Buccaneers is just really good. If Mike Evans plays, you got Godwin, Gronk, obviously, Howard. So I have them by that amount. I think the football team, their defense is pretty good. You got Chase Young. They've been the story of the year with Alex Smith. But I don't think their lack of experience and they're playing Tom Brady, like I said, who has the most experience you can really have right now. I got them by that amount.
Kanav?
All right. I got Washington. I got Washington pulling this upset. A lot of it is because I don't want to play them in the like Packers fans. Like we all agree this. We don't want to play in the. We don't want to play them in the division round. No matter if there's snow or if it's like 0 degrees. Right. No one wants to play the Bucks. Right. The Bucks are one of the most dangerous, arguably the most dangerous team right now. Probably the most complete roster. Right. Number one receiving crew. Tom Brady's still the GOAT no matter what age he is. Their run game is not amazing, but it's enough, right? And so, but I got Washington pulling this upset. You heard the confidence that Chase Young had. If he could resonate that confidence with his every other teammate he has, right? I think that Washington could pull this upset. Their offense is not good, but I think it could be enough. Just like how they pulled the upset on the Steelers earlier this season. Right? Steelers had the number one defense going into that season, or going into that game, and and Washington pulled that upset, right? So I think they'll upset the Bucks. There's one more thing I'm missing. All right. Brady not been good in primetime games. You saw him against the Rams, 8-15, lost. Saw him against the Bears on Thursday Night Football, lost. He's is not good. Nighttime games are not his thing. Primetime games are not his thing, and this is both. Right, this is primetime and nighttime, and so and this is his first wild card game of his career. So I got Washington winning by 2. I think it'll be 30-28. Or maybe even lower score, right? This is going to be a hella defensive game. I don't think it's going to be much of an offensive game. But if that D-line could get pressure to Brady, I think Brady will have about 2-3 interceptions and Washington will win.
Yeah, that's definitely fair. I mean, got Chase Young is just great. Got to give respect to him. But yeah, you're right. The Washington offense isn't the greatest. I have respect for Alex Smith and Terry McLaurin, but I just don't think. I mean, I agree. I think it could be a close game. To see Washington win. I'm not a fan of Brady whatsoever, but we'll see.
Yeah. I mean, their chemistry hasn't been like amazing, but I mean, if they could figure things out, then Bucks have the better chance, right? They're coming into this playoffs really hot, right? They're coming off like I think the record was like 5-0 the past 5 weeks. I think they've won every single game, but they've also played the Lions, the Falcons twice. So I mean, in the end, you got a mini helmet, bro. In the end, I don't know. I got Washington pulling an upset. If that defense could get pressure, this is going to be a defensive game. I see Patriots Rams Super Bowl all over again in Washington and Bucks.
All right. Well, I'm gonna play the safe bet for this one. I got the Bucks pretty easily because I mean I didn't realize until the other day when I looked at the Bucks schedule they haven't lost since Week 12 when Kansas City went to Tampa. That was the last time they lost, and they've been blowing teams out. I mean, the teams aren't great, but I mean they're still football teams. They're still National Football League teams. It's hard to blow out teams no matter the record. I mean, they blew out the Lions. Had to come back against the Falcons the first time, but the second time wasn't close.
Yeah, they blew out the Raiders too.
Yeah, and that's the thing. But
that's when the Raiders were kind of...
Yeah. But the one thing is that these teams that they're blowing out don't have good defenses. And that's the thing.
Yeah, 100%.
The football team has a good defense. The football team has a very underrated defense. And I think that they're going to play better than expectations, the football team. I don't think the football team will win, but I think it'll be closer than people have. I think the let me look at the spread here. So it's the Bucks are favored 7.5. So
yeah,
I'd say that's fair. I'd say Bucks by 7.
Okay, yeah, I agree with that. I think you made a good point. The teams they have beat, at least for the Buccaneers, like obviously I don't watch every game on Sunday, but when the Raiders played the Buccaneers, I could easily see, Brady could just totally exploit the bad defenses, especially all the weapons he has. I mean, who knows if Mike Evans is going to play? He's questionable, but even if he doesn't play, I still see the Bucs winning this by a decent amount, just because of Brady's experience and all these. He can exploit a bad defense, but like you said though, Washington has a pretty underrated defense, so it's going to be interesting to see it.
All right, so I just found this one cool stat, right? Bucks are 1-5 against playoff teams. 1-5. The only win they have was against the. Wait, did they ever win against the playoff team? No, not the Giants. Hold up. Oh, against the Packers. Rip,
Yeah.
sad memories.
And
They're 1-5 against playoff teams. So,
yeah.
like, I don't know. And those teams, right? Saints twice, top 3 defense. Chiefs, top 10 defense. The Rams, number 1 defense. And then also the Bears, another top 10 defense. And I think Washington has a top 5 defense, right? Maybe top 6, maybe top 7, right? Depending on where people rank it. And so if this defense can get pressure to Brady, right? I think that Brady will fall under the pressure, right? You saw against the Giants, at this time, Giants had like an okay defense, right? Bucks barely pulled out of that one 25-23. That was a 2-point game. So I think if this defense, and this defense is good and everyone knows it, if this defense can pull off more pressure than Brady's accustomed to, Brady will choke under this pressure. And we all know playoff Brady, right?
Yeah.
Brady mentality, the GOAT, whatever, right? But he's like his first time playing in a wild card game, new system, new coach, new offensive weapons. Chemistry's not completely built yet, right? And so if this defense can get pressure to Brady on multiple time blitzes, right? Blitzes on 3rd down, blitzes on 2nd down. This is going to be a tough night for Brady.
And I think another factor when it comes to playoffs is experience. Brady's got all of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think he brings that experience, that poise to the team, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And Alex Smith certainly brings experience to Washington, but Alex Smith doesn't have 6 rings. So I mean, I could see it. I could see the football team being able to pull off a win here. You know, you mentioned Bucks were 1-5 against playoff teams, but let's be real. There were several teams with better records than the football team that didn't make the playoffs.
Yeah.
So how much of a playoff team are we considering the football team to be? I mean, not much of one. I think, personally, if Alex Smith played every single game this season, they would have been closer to about a 9-win team. But, you know, I don't really think of them as a playoff team. And it came down to the last week. It came down to the Philadelphia Eagles purposely tanking that last game.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, you got to remember, too, like, correct me if I'm wrong, but the Bucks, like, they don't have the easiest schedule, right? I mean, they have the Saints twice. They beat the Packers. That was pretty impressive, but
they didn't just beat
the
Packers. They blew them out of the water.
They
I
blew
don't know
them
how
out,
badly
bro.
you want to hear that, Kanav, but I'm telling you, man, like that was shocking. Like, what was it, like 38-10? I mean,
yeah,
not even close.
I was. Yeah, and I mean, like you said, you know, Washington football team are 7-9. How much, like, that statistic is pretty interesting and intriguing, but let's be real. I mean, if it weren't for this format and, you know, the purposely losing by Philly, I don't think Washington would really be a playoff team. But, you know, in the next couple of years, we'll see what happens. You know, it's going to be
It's a
interesting.
young team. They got I think 6 first-round defense players. That's really impressive, you know? So I think I don't know, I got to keep it close, but I from Tampa, you know, like I got to support my homeboys, but like still I'd rather see Washington or the Bears or the Rams rather than the Bucks. So I got Bucks winning, or I got Washington winning. But it's gonna be close.
If you guys remember, like a couple years ago, the 7-9 NFC West champion Seattle Seahawks actually won their wild card game.
Yeah.
So
it happens.
I mean, they didn't go far after that. In fact, they lost the divisional. So I mean, let's be real, nobody in here expects the football team to go all the way. In fact, I think we can pretty much safely say it's not going to happen. The football team will not make it or win the Super Bowl. And if they do, then somebody's going to clip that and put me on freezing cold takes. But aside from that, no, the football team, I don't think they're going to win this game. I think Bucks by 7.
Yeah.
Good take.
Yeah, I'd say it's 7-11 at the most.
All right, so I mean, we've pretty much gone over every game now. Is there any additional touch-ups any of you would like to add for any of these games?
Yeah, I what's that?
No, you go.
Sorry. Yeah, going back to the Rams game. I mean, I think they will upset but I think the problem is like Jared Goff. Like I'm a Cal fan, so I like Aaron Rodgers too. Actually, but Jared Goff. Like as much as I like the guy, he's inconsistent. You know, you look at their Super Bowl run. What was it, 2 years ago? And he was really not the reason they won, or they got to it. Sorry. So I think the problem with Jared Goff is just he's got to be consistent, and he reminds me a little bit of Derek Carr. I mean, as a Raiders fan, it kind of comes close to my heart. You know, as a Raider fan, like Derek Carr is pretty inconsistent. So I think the Rams will win the game, but I would not be surprised if Goff, if he's not doing well, might be benched at half for Wolford, just to put him in, you know, just to see how it goes. Maybe the end of the third, but yeah.
I'll be right back. Keep the stream alive for me, boys.
I mean, John Wolford did
All
pretty
right.
good. I mean, in his game, he didn't throw a pick. He had, I think, 200 yards, 193 or something like that. He had around 200 yards. And he had a touchdown. Who did they play the last week? They played the division. They played the Cardinals, right? Cardinals aren't not horrible. They have an average defense. So I think he had some motivation going into that game. But if Goff isn't like 100% capable of going in, right? John Wolford will. But I think they'll stick more to the running game than they would to the passing game. But you also got Brocker coming back. You got Rams. Yeah. I think he's an all-pro lineman coming back, and they've also got Cooper Kupp coming back. So with those weapons, I don't see a way for the Rams to lose. Their number one defense, the top 10 maybe offense, and Seahawks offense has been struggling these past couple weeks. And their defense, we know they're not amazing, but they've also stepped up. Like these past couple weeks. You know, the acquisition of Carlos Dunlap has really helped their defensive line. Jamal Adams is more versatile than he was like ever in his career, right? So, and their corners are developing young, right? They're still young corners. They're also developing. So I think that it's gonna be a really close game. I got it 4-point spread, but I think Rams just do enough just to win.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and I'm seeing the chat question. Do I think I might have been directed at me because I'm a Raiders fan, but I don't think the Raiders will cut Derek Carr. I just don't see that happening with his contract. I think, you know, they said they want to keep him, at least for next year. So I think they'll probably let him play next year. And if he doesn't do well or they miss the playoffs, probably trade him, just to address that question. But yeah.
Speaking of chat, I think we have 7 viewers right now. One frame is showing me 10, the other 7, so I don't know how accurate that is. Either way, we got a minimum of 7 viewers right now, man. We're pretty much done with all the playoff games. So if anybody in the chat wants to do like Q&A for anybody up in the chat here, you know what I mean? You got questions for Kanav because he's a Packers fan, Casey because he's Raiders fan. I mean, anything. I mean, football. I mean, playoffs. I mean, ask away anything to keep the stream alive. You know what I mean?
I think you're gonna hate me for saying this. I'm tough. You're really gonna hate me for saying this.
Me?
But yeah, you.
Okay. Okay. All right, go for it.
But Bills are playing better than the Chiefs right now.
And I agree with
and
you.
I think Bills are going to the Super Bowl. I mean, it's in Arrowhead. I know what happened earlier this season, but this is a completely new Bills team. This is number 1 ranked offense coming into this playoffs. To top 10 defense, maybe top 15. So it's gonna be a struggle. And Patrick Mahomes has not been careful with the ball. If you watch his highlights, like he's been kind of careless with the ball, and like anyone can admit to that. Anyone in chat, any one of us, right? Like he has been against Miami. He threw 3 picks, right? Just because he's trying to do a sidearm throw, or like some like cross body throw, right?
Hold on. 3 picks in Miami. Let's go over those picks, shall we? The first one was tipped. Tipped. The second one was a highlight reel one-handed grab from Defensive Player of the Year, Xavier Howard. And the third one was off the fingertips of the receiver.
No. The third one was okay. There was one that was the one where the guy fell down on the ground and picked it back up and he tipped the ball and the guy grabbed it, or the defenseman grabbed it again. That was one pick. Xavier Howard was the second one. And the third one was rolling out. I think he was rolling out left, but he threw a cross body, or he threw it like this, rolling left, and it went right over Le'Veon Bell into the defender, which was his fault. Like you got to throw the ball lower.
Really, one of those picks was his fault. The other 2 were just
2.
No, no, no,
two and
no,
three,
no,
two and
no,
three.
no,
Nah,
no,
nah,
no,
come
no.
on.
Xavier Howard's the only
Xavier-
guy that would have made that pick. So no, man. And then
That ball was underthrown though. I don't
maybe a
know,
little
man.
bit, maybe a little bit. Tyreek Hill's like fucking 5'10". He's a short dude. So I mean, all right, all right, all right.
I
No,
don't
no,
know,
no.
man.
I agree with you. I think the Bills are the team to beat in the National Football League right now. No doubt about it. Right?
Oh yeah.
But
Yeah.
But let me say this, okay? Who was the hottest team going to the playoffs last year? Because this year it's the Bills. Last year it
I
was
think
the
last year was
Titans.
the Titans.
Yeah, there we go. The Titans.
Yeah.
The Titans upset
Also
Brady.
pulled out.
The Titans went into Baltimore and upset Lamar Jackson after they had a bye week. I mean, they just got a whole week of rest. And the Titans are coming off a win in Foxborough. They beat the Ravens. They are the team to beat. They are the hottest team. They come into Arrowhead, and there's just nothing left in the tank for them.
They did pull out to an early
Yeah.
lead, but after that Mahomes scramble for like 30-yard touchdown before halftime, that just lost all momentum for the game. That's just like a I'm coming for you type of game from Mahomes. They
And,
paid for it, man. They got 17-7 lead. And they paid for it, or 20-7 lead, something like that.
Yeah.
I do think the Bills are the team to beat, but having to play that one extra game makes a huge difference, I think. I think having the Chiefs having the bye, makes a huge difference. And I think you can agree, Kanav, because your Packers also got the 1 seed.
Yeah, but there's the difference. Okay, I think playing that extra week is more beneficial than having a bye week, and it's not it's not or like no, let me rephrase that. I think playing that extra game is more beneficial than what the Chiefs are having right now. Because Chiefs, right? But getting a bye week is good. But you saw what happened to the Packers when they came up a bye week, right? They were 4-0 to start, right? The hottest team in the NFL. Grabbed a bye week, right? Rested all their players, did whatever, didn't like no contact practice, got raped by the Bucks. Literally, like I can't even explain to you how like happy I was that it was 10-0, and then all of a sudden one pick six, one almost pick six, and this game just threw right to 38-10. We all know it. So, but now in this circumstance, right, you have Chiefs benching Mahomes, benching Tyreek Hill, Sammy Watkins, offensive stars, defensive stars for week 17, right? Then you get a bye week, and then you're playing a hot team, whether it may be the Ravens, who's like aggressive as hell, maybe the Steelers, maybe the Bills, right? Depending on how the wins go this week, right? So if you're playing any of those type of aggressive teams, right, having 2 weeks off is not what you want, right? You want like 1 week off is like, okay, yeah, like we got rest, but having 2 weeks just makes you lazy, right? Packers faced that I think back in 2011 when Rodgers had his MVP year, right? He was 15-1, and then they benched him week 17, had to buy this first round of the playoffs, exited the playoffs, and lost to the wild card team in the Giants, right? So I think 2 weeks rest, probably not the best thing, but I mean I see where Andy Reid wanted that, right? He didn't want Mahomes getting hurt in the last week or like any of his stars getting hurt in the last week, right? But if they're playing a hot team coming into the playoffs, if they're playing an aggressive team, right? Someone who likes to be physical, someone who likes to throw the ball a lot, someone who likes to run the ball a lot, then I think it's possible upset in the divisional round for the Chiefs. I have them going to the AFC Championship.
I don't see the Chiefs losing the second round. I don't see the Chiefs losing the divisional. If we play the Bills in the championship, I'll be nervous. No doubt about it. If we play any other team, there's no doubt in my mind that we'll be in the Super Bowl again. The thing, right? You know, I'm a Chiefs fan, right? I gotta keep it real with you. Andy Reid's record off of a bye week is amazing. I don't know what it is specifically. I'll look it up real quick. Andy Reid record off bye.
Oh. I mean, he's never had a quarterback like Mahomes, right? He's always had Alex Smith.
Well, and that's the thing. It's like Andy Reid was always known as like this choking coach, and it's the thing. It's like, oh, Belichick's so much better. The thing is, you can't be a good coach if you don't have a good quarterback. Simply put.
That's facts.
If Bill Belichick didn't have Tom Brady, Belichick doesn't have 6 rings. Belichick maybe be lucky to have 1. And that's why Andy Reid has just been so unlucky over the years. I mean, he coached Alex Smith. He coached the Eagles. I don't know who the Eagles had. They had Vic and McNabb maybe. But he finally gets Mahomes. Look at what happens. 2 years with Mahomes, he gets a Super Bowl ring. So, I mean, you can't be a good
That
coach
too.
if you don't have a good quarterback, and that's just kind of what I learned. I mean, look at the Patriots this year. Brady goes to Tampa.
Yeah.
Gets the Bucks to the playoffs for the first time in 12 years. And Brady leaves New England. Belichick fails to make the playoffs. So, I think you can't be a good coach if you don't have a good quarterback.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I agree with that.
Yeah. Sorry. A few people in the chat were talking about like the Raiders quarterback situation. I'll just talk a little bit about that, my opinion on it. First, Mariota. I think we all probably saw that game against the Chargers where Mariota stepped in. And I think we got to remember they are paying him a lot, but we got to remember the Raiders are not good with contracts. They're paying John Gruden $100 million. He's a below average coach in my opinion, at least right now. And do I think they should go for Watson? I think they'll consider it, but I don't know if it's going to happen, and I don't really think it will happen, just because there's so many other teams that are going for him and probably will pay more, like the 49ers. Yeah.
The rumors for that right now is that the trade value for Watson is going to be off the charts. Like, we're talking Texans are wanting, this is just the rumors, the Texans are wanting 3 first-rounders, 3 second-rounders for the next 3 years.
Yeah.
Would you do it for Watson?
Yeah. Too much.
Would you do it for Watson?
If I was a struggling head coach, right, or a general manager, or whatever, whoever makes those decisions, right, and I had you have offensive weapons, right, Jacksonville per se, right, they got rookie receiver Laviska Shenault Jr., whatever his name is, right, what's it? They got Kenneth Cole, they got DJ Chark Jr., right. If I was the Jaguars, potentially I wouldn't give up that much, right? 3 first rounds, 3 second rounds is way too much. I'd probably give up 1 or 2 first rounds, right? Probably 1 for next year and the 1 for the following year, 2 second rounds maybe, and then a couple other picks, right? And I'd give him a quarterback on top of that. Deshaun Watson is he's a real player, right? He's a top 5 quarterback, right? If you want to put him in top 3, you can, but I'm not gonna. I put him at 4 max because Rodgers, Mahomes, Allen, simple. But I probably trade a lot in just for Watson, right? If he's comfortable with the system, right, then I think he could be a top 3, right? Maybe even the best quarterback in the NFL if he has a good coach, if he has a good system to play in, right? He led the league in passing yards without any receivers. Like that's unheard of, Like Mahomes out here with like Kelsey Hill, Watkins, Aaron Rodgers with Devontae, Alan Lazard, maybe Josh Allen with Cole Beasley, Stephon Diggs, and Deshaun Watson, right? Brandon Cooks. They're not even a top 10 receiver this year, right? They still led the league in passing.
Yeah.
I think he was second after Rodgers in yards per attempt, and I think his completion percentage was top 5, if I'm not mistaken. And his passer rating was second, right? His passer rating, right, the thing that judges all quarterbacks, was second in that National Football League. No receiver help, no IQ head coach. So I mean, if I was any struggling team, I'd give up that much. I'd give a quarterback and I'd give a couple of round picks for Watson.
Yeah, and I mean, if the Texans can get a good coach, I mean, if I have to be completely honest, I don't see Watson getting traded this year at least. I think the Texans don't have that first round draft pick, which is really unfortunate for them. The Bill O'Brien debacle, don't even get me started on that. But like, if they can get a good coach, if Watson's being coached well, don't they have an intern coach in right now? Or like
they just fired Bill O'Brien, yeah.
Yeah, they just fired Bill O'Brien. So without Bill O'Brien, I think he's genuinely crazy. Trading DeAndre Hopkins, that first round pick, top 3 pick or whatever. So I just if Watson's under a better system, he's gonna thrive. They got J.J. Watt. He's got no receivers. It's really unfortunate they traded that pick. They could have gotten a good receiver, but we'll have to see. I don't see him getting traded, but I think if he does, it's going to be a blockbuster trade. With many draft picks involved, possibly a quarterback involved.
I see him going to the Saints or the Bears. I don't see him going to the Niners only because Kyle Shanahan already made it clear that Jimmy G is going to be their starter next year. And like, why not, right? You already made a Super Bowl run with them, and all you needed was a 4th quarter stop against Mahomes, right? But you didn't get it. And so I think Jimmy G will be the starter in the Niners. I am surprised, though, that the Texans didn't interview Eric Bieniemy, right? Like, you've seen him with Mahomes, right? 2 years Super Bowl runs, right? One that he should have won and one that he did win. then you hear that Deshaun Watson's like pissed off because they didn't even consider Eric Bieniemy in a head coaching job, right? If I was Deshaun Watson, I'd be pissed off too, right? Arguably the best offensive coordinator in the NFL right now, and you didn't interview him for a head coach job.
He's the hottest
Like-
he's the hottest coach on the market this offseason.
Oh yeah,
I don't think there's
100%.
any doubt about that. And I think personally, right, I think the Chiefs are screwed because I think Bieniemy's going to the Chargers.
Oh, dude, the enemy and Justin Herbert.
Yeah,
That's gonna be
exactly.
lethal.
I'd be so worried about that. No, but hear me out, right? So I researched it, right? Eric Bieniemy started his coaching career, or maybe not started, but he used to be a part of the Chargers organization for several years. And Bieniemy was born in Los Angeles. He grew up in Los Angeles. So
Yeah.
if I were Bieniemy, I'd want to go home and I'd want to coach a hot young quarterback who's, going to be a superstar with the right coaching. Justin Herbert. You know what I mean? And so
Yeah.
Or
Yeah, and I mean,
play
speaking
it
of the,
safe. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean the AFC West, just on that topic, I see it being one of the best divisions in the next 5 years. I mean,
Yeah.
obviously I'm a Raiders fan, so I don't want to set the bar too high, but I mean the Raiders were considered a playoff team at the beginning of the year. Before the season started, the Broncos were too. Obviously, you got the Kansas City Chiefs, who are way out of the league in terms of winning, and then you got Justin Herbert. But yeah, I just think Raiders, they need a defensive coordinator. The coaching is over this offseason. I see a lot of coaches moving around, and we'll have to see.
Yeah, man. I mean, as a Chiefs fan, I hope Bieniemy goes somewhere like the Falcons, where you already have a good Matt Ryan and you're capable of, not choking. But if I had to bet money on it, I'd probably say that he goes to the Chargers.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Who's just going for a head coach? Lions, Atlanta, Chargers, Jets.
And the Raiders need a defensive coordinator, and yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I see him. If anything, I think he should go to the Chargers. You got a hot talent, right? Justin Herbert, rookie sensation, right? Quarterback with most touchdowns thrown. Pretty good completion percentage for his first year. I think it was 160. And his passer rating just below 100, right? So I think with that system, he'd be good. I need Anthony Lynn. Come on, cut him some slack. Most touchdowns ever thrown by a rookie. Maybe you're looking at his passer rating and 98. It's not good for a quarterback, but he had Anthony Lynn calling plays, man. He wanted a QB sneak at the 3-yard line, and the O-line didn't even know about it. Come on, Anthony Lynn, you suck. Get him a better coach, and Justin Herbert is going to be off the charts, right? And with those weapons, I think
they had Anthony Lynn, and Justin Herbert still set multiple rookie quarterback records. He still had an incredible year. Despite and they choked just as much as the Falcons did. They've had several games where they should have won but didn't. So sorry to cut you off there because there's kind of a lag.
Nah, you
on the
good,
Discord
bro.
call. It's kind of a lag, so it's kind of hard to tell when to come in. But no, I think I was kind of mad when they fired Anthony Lynn because I knew that if they kept him around for at least another year, the Chargers would suck for at least another year. So I was kind of disappointed to see that, but it had to happen at some point. Lynn just never got them over the top, and I think I think they get Bieniemy. I hope it doesn't happen for the sake of the Chiefs, but think about it. Now if me and you are from Tampa, right? If you become a head coach, you become a coach one day, you probably want to go back to where you grew up in. So.
Oh yeah.
So I mean.
Yeah, and this might seem like a weird comparison. The Chargers is a mini version of the Chiefs. If you think about it, maybe in the next couple of years, they have a great tight end. Chiefs have a great tight end. Well, no, he's not as great, obviously, but that comparison.
He's pretty good. Yeah.
Yeah, Hunter Henry. They got Keenan Allen, who you could kind of compare to Tyreek.
Mike Evans.
Not
Mike Evans. Mike Williams.
Mike Williams. If they can get the defense, they got Casey Hayward. If they can get their defense up to speed, if they can, I'm not sure about their offensive line, but if they can keep that up there, as much as I don't want to see them succeed, the Chargers, they could be up there. Like, I see them kind of as a baby version of the Chiefs. And someone asked if I think Damon Arnett was a bust. I don't think he was a bust just because the Raiders' defensive coaching was horrible. I'm not going to put all the blame on the players, but we'll see how he does next year. Yeah.
Speaking of offensive coordinator, Nathaniel Hackett's on the board too, Packers offensive coordinator. We all know, like, offensively, Packers have been dominant, right? So I don't know where he'd be suited best. I think he'll come back to the Packers, but, like, no one's going to deny a head coaching job. Like, if you're getting paid well and you're getting a head coach, I don't think anyone's going to deny that. But I see him probably going to the Falcons just because Matt Ryan, Julio Jones, right? Aaron Rodgers, Devontae Adams. Like, you can't really. If anyone says Matt Ryan and Aaron Rodgers are similar, right? They're out of their minds. But like their way, like if you just look at them, they look pretty similar, right? Old, not that old, but oldish QBs. Pocket QBs. They're not much scramblers, but they'll scramble when they have to. Pretty accurate with the ball. Can throw the deep ball pretty well, right? And then you got on the receiving core Julio Jones and Devontae Adams, right? Julio, when he's in a healthy year, he's a top 3 receiver. Devontae Adams this year, number 1 receiver. So there's a lot of similarities within this offense, right? You got Calvin Ridley too, right? Who's like been on an outbreak this year without Julio Jones being receiver number 1, right? And then Russell Gage. So if Nathaniel Hackett, if he goes to Falcons, I think the Falcons would be scary offensively next year.
Yeah, and I mean, speaking of the Falcons, like, do you guys have any thoughts about Julio Jones? Because I kind of see him in kind of a Watson situation, badly coached team. He's the best, not, he was just kind of a down year for him, but he's been that best receiver. There's been talks about him, but do you guys have any sort of prediction? Because obviously the Falcons were a horribly coached team, and that usually sets a team up to fail. So,
well, it just depends on who they get.
Yeah, I think if they could figure out their coaching problems, then they'll be better. Their defense is horrible, right? 99% sure that they're ranked 32nd in the pass defense. So, of course, they're going to need a defensive coordinator, maybe defensive players, right? But I don't see, and there's been a lot of speculation, right, that Julio Jones and Matt Ryan were going to get traded. I don't see them getting traded unless, like, they really want out of Atlanta, but I don't think they do. I think they love their owner. They built a personal relationship with us, right? And they build a personal relationship with each other where it extends beyond the just the game field, right? So I think they'll stay in Atlanta if they get a capable head coach through this market. I think they'd be pretty good offensively. I don't know about their defensive struggles, but nothing could be fixed, or nothing can't be fixed, right? With a couple players or maybe a defensive coordinator or something like that. Maybe just them stepping up mentally.
Right. Kanav, Aaron from the chat wants to know, since I'm a Chiefs fan, you're a Packers fan, who wins MVP?
Man, I saw that question a while ago, and we were talking about the Raiders, and we were talking about Watson, and I'm like, damn, bro, just trying to get. I was trying to get to that question, man, but we just kept extending the conversation. I'm like, all right, we'll just get back to it later. And I'm like, come on, man, you already know, Aaron Rodgers, it's not even close at this point. They bet him, I think, minus 1,000 or minus 2,000 in betting, right? So if you're anywhere in the negatives, right, that's really good. Josh Allen's second, I think, plus 450, and then Patrick Mahomes is plus 600, right, at third. So, it's not even close anymore. 51 total touchdowns, 5 interceptions, unreal. Aaron Rodgers, right, holds the number 2 or the top 2 spots in single season passer rating. Number 1, obviously, 122, and then number 2, 121. He holds both spots for single season passer rating. So I think that's this is beyond mind blowing, right? And passer rating is probably the best way to grade a QB, right? How they play, how many times they're sacked, how many times they get the ball away, how they do under pressure, right? So, I think he's very talented quarterback. I think he's the best quarterback this season. People might say Patrick Mahomes is, but I think he's the best quarterback, and I think he's the most valuable quarterback because I think without Aaron Rodgers, Packers wouldn't even be in the playoff discussion. They wouldn't be in any football discussion, right? I think their record would probably be 5-12.
Hate to agree with you.
Without Aaron Rodgers.
But yeah, I think Rodgers got the MVP in the bag, man. And I kind of regret
Yeah,
making
I
that
agree
bet
too.
with you. All right, man. Let's up the stakes a bit here. All right, look, he's gonna win the MVP. I'm gonna have to get the goddamn Rodgers cut. All right. Hear me out though.
You're gonna have to shave all this off.
Hear me out. Hear me out, Cal. All right. If Mahomes wins the Super Bowl, I want to see you get a Mahomes cut.
All right, I'll put that.
You'll do that?
Yeah.
Man, you'd be walking around with the with the 2 cuts.
Yeah, bro, mini Mahomes, bro.
Man, I
Yeah.
think regardless you should do it. I mean, you got the hair to do it, so.
Yeah, bro. I gotta cut the sides a little bit. It's been aggravating recently. This shit gets poofy so much. When I come out of the shower, it's so annoying.
Oh
Just
man.
kind of like
All right.
gel it up a little.
Winning it.
Huh?
I guess we're going 3 for 3 again. I see Rodgers winning it. He had something to prove. Like, obviously they drafted a quarterback, Jordan Love, and I could tell. I think a lot of people could tell he wants to prove this something. Kind of reminds me of a Drew Brees. He has 1 ring. He wants to redeem himself. He had a great season. I'm going to give him the MVP. I mean, not discrediting how good of a quarterback Mahomes is. It's just for the past few games, although the Chiefs 14-2 is great. It's just like the red zone things is the red zone inconsistencies. That's the problem. And then the defense. But other than that, Mahomes, great quarterback.
Right.
And yeah.
Yeah, I think you bring up a really good point, right? That red zone defense, that red zone offense, right? Both. I'm not gonna say terrible, just for Brett's sanity. I'm not gonna say terrible, but they've been pretty bad this year. Red zone. I think they're not top. I don't think they're top 10 in red zone on offense, but they've fallen right. Right. They don't score on touchdowns as much as they should. I think during that Broncos stretch, like those couple 3 games, like in between the Broncos and all that, they went 0 for 6 in the red zone. So it's just that's within 20 yards, right? 20 yards to play to get to the touchdown. They went 0 for 6. So I don't know how you could do that and still be I guess the 50-yard bombs to Tyreek Hill and those 40-yard passes to Kelsey. But if you're not converting into red zone, right? You're not gonna prove yourself as a top team, right? No matter how
couple of those failed attempts were fumbles. I mean, I don't want to come up with excuses here, but it's not entirely Mahomes. You know what I mean? There have been fumbles, and I don't know.
Yeah, I'm gonna
Also,
say
the run game for the Chiefs is elite either. The Packers have Aaron Jones, obviously. I mean, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, he's really good in my opinion, but I don't see him as an elite running back yet. And same with Le'Veon Bell isn't in his prime anymore either. He was kind of just a mid-season pickup. But I'm not I still think that the Chiefs are a really good team, but part of that red zone offense is your running game too. You got to remember that. So the problem is if you don't have that all locked up, you're not gonna. You're set up to fail, kind of. So that's the difference between the Packers. They're similar teams. I'll give it to them, but we'll have to see though in the playoffs because red zone offense is really important coming down the stretch. So
yeah. Rodgers went nuts this year. He had a chip on his shoulder. He went nuts. I was so pissed off when I heard that Jordan Love got traded. I'm I'm just sitting there on my couch. I'm all right, pick is in. And I think Jordan Love. I'm bruh. Out of all the receivers you could have gone, Justin Jefferson, Shenault Jr., Michael Pittman, Brandon Ayuk, right? You go and get Jordan Love. Rodgers was pissed. Y'all heard that thing where he's I went home and had 4 spoons of or 4 fingers of tequila or something like that, right? You don't do that if you don't do that any under sane circumstances, right? If you're pissed off, you'll do that. That man was pissed, and this year you could see it, right? He was scorching up the NFL this year. Man, yeah, maybe a couple of setbacks, but which team doesn't? Every team has a couple of setbacks, and then the way he just bounced back the following week, right? He never had 2 bad weeks in a row. The next week he'd always bounce back, and he'd always scorch defense, right? He averaged around 3 or 4 touchdown passes a game, which is unreal, right? Especially if you have a back like Aaron Jones or Jamal Williams, right? Hell, even A.J. Dillon popped off against the Titans for 2 touchdowns. Even with that, right, Rodgers was still able to put up consistent numbers, right? He overtook Brees in completion percentage too. That's what I was shocked. Brees always leads in completion percentage every year. I was shocked that Rodgers actually took it because Rodgers is always 64 65%, 64%, something like that.
Yeah.
She popped off with 71.
All right, we got 2 questions in the chat, man. We're going to get over these real quick, and then I have some personal questions for you two myself. First one comes from Rowan. He asks what we think about Drew Brees' future. So we'll start off with Casey.
What was the question?
Yeah. Drew Brees, what's going to turn out for Drew Brees' future? I think personally, I this might be an unpopular opinion. I think if he doesn't win a ring this year, he might give it one more shot. I mean, the dude loves football. He's gotten screwed so many times. I don't see him walking not empty-handed because he has that one ring, but walking out without a second ring with this team with Alvin Kamara. But for his future, I think if he wins a ring, he'll Peyton Manning, probably retire. But even if he doesn't win a ring, he still could retire. I'm not saying he's not going to do that. He definitely wants to. So we'll see.
Well, I mean, he has another year on a contract, doesn't he? Or is
Yeah, I think. Wait. Yeah. Oh, yeah, he does have another year.
So that's what I'm saying, man. It's like, I think the NFC Super Bowl team will either be the Saints or the Packers. One of those two. I don't see any other teams making it.
I see the Bucs or the Packers. The Bucs are really scary right now, but that's the only team that scares me. But back to Breeze, right? Yeah. It's hard to determine, especially right now, right? Ian Rappaport tweeted out a couple of days ago. He's like, many people are starting to believe that Breeze will retire after the season, right? And he also did sign a contract with NBC last April, right, to like start doing TV after this season, right? So yeah, he has a contract left on his he has a year left on his contract, right? But when you look at Drew Brees, right, he's 40 years old, right? The older you get, the more problems you start getting, right? And he had 13 broken ribs and a collapsed lung, right? Like, I ain't a doctor, but I don't think that's pretty healthy for a 40-year-old man, right? Especially playing in the NFL, right? Where you're always constantly getting hit, right? Where you always have to take hits, right? From 300-pound dudes, right? Like, no one wants to do that when you're 40 years old, right? Brady's unbelievable, right? I really thought he'd retire after a couple years ago, especially when he got old. But man's trying to play till he's 50. Damn. But I don't see Brees continuing after the season. I think if he makes it to the NFC Championship, he might go out another run next year. But if he gets out early, I don't see him coming back.
I think Drew Brees will come back next year, but I think next year will be his last.
Yeah, if not this year, definitely last year.
Short of that.
Yeah.
All right. So, second question is, for all three of us, what would be your opinion on if we did a podcast?
Sure, yeah, I'm down.
Are you talking Apple Music podcast?
I don't even know, man. I don't even know how to set up a podcast, bro. SoundCloud or something, bro. I don't even know. No, man. It's the thing with podcasts is how many people actually listen to podcasts. I mean, I'm sure they have a decent amount, but it's not something that everybody does. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's why I like being on YouTube, because people want to watch videos, and I feel I don't want to put headphones on and listen to people. I'd rather I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, it's something I look into because I've had friends before ask me if they'd want to do a podcast together. Do you know Nicholas Kanav?
Yeah,
He's on our fantasy league. He's in our fantasy. I don't know if you've met. I don't know if you've met him. I don't know if you've met. He's a Giants fan, so he and I like to talk about football a lot as well. He was asking me if I wanted to do a podcast with him sometime. I was like, you know what, man, I don't know, because I've never really done it. I don't really see it as something that would be successful, but I mean, I'd be open to it, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Podcasts.
That's true.
Podcasts are weird, bro. Everyone just talks and now today we're gonna be talking about this. It's so dull. If y'all ever listen to podcasts, bro, it's a bunch of old people just being all right, yeah, so the 49ers beat the Giants today, 24-13. There's no excitement today, unless you make it hype.
Yeah, exactly. That's the thing. It's I don't know how you fit the excitement factor in there, man. Because I prefer to just look on NFL Network and watch Pete Schrager talk or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, I agree with that. That's why the YouTube's better. These live streams, you kind of get that live experience, and you can watch it. I think people naturally like doing that better. But yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. All right, and then And then one more thing here. This is for me and Kanav, since we both have the 1 seed teams. If the Chiefs and Packers both lose early, who will you root for throughout the playoffs?
I'm going with Bills.
Bills?
I've really been a fan of Josh Allen ever since he came out of Wyoming. I knew like he wasn't the brightest QB coming out. I think he had like a 50-some% completion. He had a strong talent, right? And he's built like a linebacker. So I've always like seen Josh Allen as my like second favorite quarterback after Aaron Rodgers. But I think the way he's been progressing with the Bills, just like maybe just watch more highlights of him, right? He dropped Kyle Van Noy, like a quarterback dropping a linebacker. Like, come on, bro, that's unreal, right? So plus, I want the Bills coming out of the AFC. Like, no hate to the Chiefs, but I think the Bills will come out of the AFC. But if Packers and Chiefs, like, don't come, or if they get out in the first round, NFC, I'll probably support the Bucs because like hometown, and then AFC, I'll support the Bills.
Yeah, I'll go with you on the Bucs. Hometown. I would definitely root for the Bucs. AFC Browns. I went to a Browns game.
Browns are coming out first round.
Yeah, I agree with you, but that's who I would root for if they did go far. Because here's the thing, right? It's like I went to the Browns game versus the Chiefs up in Cleveland 2 years ago, and it was just funny sitting next to the Browns fans. They were really respectful people. They were telling me and they were telling Colin. They were like, "Yeah, man, you guys are so lucky to have Mahomes, and we suck every year." And like they know they're bad, it's like, so I felt bad for them because they're just so used to just pain. Like they're just, I don't know, they're just immune to pain because they've lived through it for so long. So I don't know. I'd like to see. But I mean, remember how the Cubs won the World Series a couple years ago, and it like broke the world because they'd been like the worst team in baseball for 100 years. Never was able to win the whole thing. And if that happened to the Browns, football world would burn. Yeah.
Dude, no one even remembers that. Yeah. Like, I'm thinking back a couple years. Like, I could remember the World Series, right? It was like Red Sox, Dodgers again, and then like you just mentioned the Cubs. I'm like the first thought that came in my mind, I'm like, wait, the Cubs win the World Series? I'm like, oh shit, they did. Like, no one remembers the Cubs winning the World Series. It's because no one expected them to win the World Series, you know? Yeah. Like, I think if Browns do that, then it's gonna shock the world. But I don't think anyone's gonna remember, 2021 Super Bowl. Browns won the Super Bowl. Like crazy. Like I don't think people won't remember that 5, 6 years down the line. No one's gonna remember the Browns.
Yeah, because I mean, Cubs Indians, like that's not your typical matchup, you know. So, yeah. And I looks like I got another question. I guess I'll just answer it quick if you guys want to answer it too. Do I think Derek Carr changed after the injury in 2016?
Yes.
Yes, definitely. But I also think the team changed as a team too. I mean, getting rid of, I think just that injury led to not only Carr underperforming in the future, years underperforming. You know, they got rid of Khalil Mack and Amari Cooper, which, you know, I think is one of the dumbest ideas ever. And Latavius Murray left. Didn't the Raiders have like 5 Pro Bowlers in 2016? Like that Khalil Mack, Derek Carr, Latavius Murray, Amari Cooper, and I think Crabtree. And just after that, they moved to Vegas, which definitely changed things. They still played in Oakland for a couple years, but I think I'm just going to give you a short answer. Yes, there's a lot more aftermath that came with it, but yeah.
Even from MVP to like you don't even know what he is anymore, man. He was, and I don't think he didn't win MVP, right? I think he was second favorite or third favorite.
Yeah, was it Cam Newton that year? Or was it Matt Ryan? Or I think
2016 was Matt Ryan. Yeah,
it was Ryan. 2018
Patriots. Yeah, Patriots Falcons Super Bowl. Yeah. Matt Ryan. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So yeah, Matt Ryan was favorite. I think Derek Carr was third favorite or second favorite. I'm not sure, but like MVP favorite, like he's still in the discussion, right? But after that, like you just never saw anything like Derek Carr, right? I think he didn't pull a Carson Wentz, but like you could really see the similarity between those two. Carson Wentz went from an MVP caliber to a 9-7 season, and now to like a 5 and whatever season or 4 or 6. I don't know.
And Wentz like ACL too. Injuries, it's a terrible things. It just changes careers.
Injuries definitely ruined them. He got injured in his MVP year, right?
Yeah, it was the final. It was week 17. He should have been rested. Honestly,
Carson Wentz, same thing.
Yeah, Yeah.
He had an MVP caliber season. Broke his shoulder or
Yeah.
something. There's a lot of similarities between those two quarterbacks.
Yeah.
Yeah,
What's
man.
something else? Oh, 2013 Seahawks or 2019 Chiefs?
2019 Chiefs. My man just got a phone call. All right, Aaron wants to know if I'm ever thinking about making a basketball channel. No, because I don't even watch basketball, man. I mean, this season and this season only, I'm a Toronto Raptors fan because they're obviously playing in Tampa. But after this season, no, you can forget about it. Until Tampa gets a team, which is probably not going to happen for years, then no, it's hard for me to watch basketball. Man.
Hey, Brett, come on. Put some respect.
Man, I can't even.
Oh, you can't
wait.
see it.
Spurs.
Can't see it. Come on.
Nah, man. No, like before the Raptors came to Tampa, like I mean, I'm kind of like sharing teams right now, right? Like I'm a part Raptors fan, but also part Thunder fan because like I was born in Oklahoma City, right? So it just kind of makes me want to support the Thunder, but I don't like ever watch games or any of that. Like I think when they were in the playoffs, I think I watched the final quarter of Game 7 or Game 5 or whatever it was. I think that's like it. If Tampa had a basketball team, what would they be named? Chris wants to know.
Raptors.
Ooh. Nah, Toronto got the Raptors thing, bro.
I mean, if it was relocated, then any of the current 30 teams. But you know, if I got to name the team, yeah, man, I would say Aviators, man, because I mean, Tampa got McDill Air Force Base right in Tampa, man. I think that'd be a badass name.
What would be the logo, though?
What?
The minor league is so they could just like an alien, right?
I was just like about aviation and shit, man, like planes.
Yeah, but I don't know. Oh, so they have like they put a Winnipeg, like just have like a little jet logo right in the middle.
Yeah, something like, yeah, something to do with planes, you know, or the military.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember. You got like, I mean, it comes down to like history too. Like some teams like base it off of history. It's like,
well, right, and I mean, a lot of our history has to do with like Gasparilla and all that shit.
Yeah.
And so I mean, the football team, you know, the Buccaneers, they already got that written down, you know, the Bucks, and for a good reason. And
yeah.
I don't know what else Tampa's really known for, you know, other than pirates and Cuban sandwiches. So I don't really see how you name a team after a sandwich, though.
I think Gladiators. Like who Gladiators is a cool name.
Oh yeah. I mean, if you look at like the Magic, like they're owned by Disney. Like, do you think they'd be called the Magic if they weren't owned by Disney, or like the Mighty Ducks? Do you think they'd be called? Exactly. It depends on the owner. I feel like too. Like,
well, the Ducks kept their
I think
name
it does
after
matter. Like
Disney didn't renew the ownership plan.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and then they totally rebranded and stuff, which is, in my opinion, a downgrade. But yeah.
Yeah. I think Tampa Bay should have a basketball team, and they'll definitely consider in the next couple of years to come. But like, the name is just like
adding two.
Yeah.
I think they're adding Seattle too.
I think Kansas City's a front runner too, because they have a downtown arena built for basketball. So, I mean, they got the setup there. The thing is, right? Tampa Bay is currently the largest sports market that doesn't have a basketball team. And that's a fact. We're the 13th largest sports market in America. But the only problem that Tampa faces is the fact that Orlando, just down the road, has a team.
Yeah.
So I don't really know how... Because, I mean, not a whole lot of people in Tampa, because I live here, not a whole lot of people in Tampa are basketball fans. But if you are a basketball fan, you're a Magic fan.
For sure. Yeah.
Except for Kanav.
I mean, obviously I don't...
I was born... I should have been to a Spurs game. I was born in San Antonio, so like I should have been to a Spurs game, but I moved when I was 4, so like even then, like I wouldn't even know what's happening, right? Like I'm a baby, so I'd see a ball dribbling and be like, ooh, ball. Like I'm not gonna remember anything from like a Spurs game, right? But I really want to go back when I'm older, just like go back to San Antonio, go watch a game. Or even if they come to Orlando, right? Go watch the Spurs at Magic or something like that.
if there was an expansion team for the
Yeah,
NFL,
for me, I'm
what city would you guys like it in?
For the NFL.
Oakland.
Oakland. That's an
Just
easy
came from
pick.
Oakland. Wait,
Yeah.
Casey, were you from California?
Yeah. Yeah. These are my teams up here. So Warriors for
I
basketball.
figured, man.
Yeah.
Man, Casey
You
just
live in there or
lost
you just
2
from there?
teams in the last 2 years.
Yeah, I've lost 2 teams.
Rip.
And the A's are always talking about it. So, you know.
At least the
And-
Warriors
and
didn't go far. It was really only the Raiders that.
Yeah.
went far.
Yeah.
San Diego went pretty
Yeah.
far too.
I don't
LA.
know, man. I don't.
They're still in California.
I don't know, man. Because I feel like all the football markets in America have already been taken up. Like I feel like no matter where you put it now, it's just not gonna have the same amount of support as other markets. I mean, maybe Austin,
This is
Texas, because it's like one of the
Nah,
fastest growing
I don't see
cities.
Texas. I don't see Texas having another team.
Problem is- I don't think Jerry Jones would support that though, because like if you think about it, he's kind of the Raiders were thinking about moving to San Antonio back when the whole relocation thing. Jerry Jones like hell no, we got the Texans, the Cowboys are the limit. Like he's pretty much like the facilitator of the league. He has more power than Roger Goodell. I think Austin is a good city for a sports team, but I don't know if the NFL would be viable. But who knows?
I mean, I just don't know because I thought of like I can think of cities that should have NHL or MLB, but I can't think of any cities that should have NFL. Like
I got Oklahoma. I think Oklahoma should have an NFL team.
Oklahoma, I don't know.
Like
I
think
just
about
don't
it. Think
feel
about it like
it's
this. You
big
got
enough.
Texas. You got Mississippi, Alabama.
I
In between, you
guess.
have Louisiana. And you have all the way at the bottom. You have New Orleans. So there's not a team in that like radius. So and Oklahoma is not it's not a huge state, but like Oklahoma City, it's a pretty good city, right? So I think Oklahoma area should consider having an NFL team. But there's a lot that goes into it.
Man,
Yeah,
why the
I
hell
don't
not
know.
just give LA a third team, bro? just give LA a third team, bro. That's the expansion right there.
Also, Toronto. I mean, I don't know if the NFL wants to be in Canada. I think it'd be kind of weird, but Toronto has support.
For a
I mean,
couple
they
years,
have
the Bills played some games in Toronto, and I don't really think it was successful enough because they haven't been back.
Yeah, and I mean, I think the Bills, like if we're talking relocation, because I think expansion for the NFL isn't the most realistic. I mean, they have 32 teams. It's COVID right now. I don't see expansion coming in the next 10 years. But I mean, if I have to talk, the teams that would relocate, I'd probably say number 1 Titans, Jaguars, possibly, and maybe Buffalo. Unless they get a new stadium.
Nah, Buffalo
They're
would relocate.
Yeah,
Teams
but
would
like the
relocate
thing,
if they're not doing well, right? That fan base, they're not completely around that fan base, and they're like, oh, let's just move. Considering there's a lot of factors that go into it. I don't think Buffalo would move just because they've been a successful team.
Yeah, that's
I
true.
could see
Same
I
reason
could
Green
see
Bay is not going anywhere and Kansas City's not going anywhere.
Yeah.
That fan base has just been around for too damn long, and they're too
Oh, yeah.
dedicated.
there's
for
too much
that.
history. There's too much history in these fan bases.
Exactly.
You think through that first Super Bowl, right? Green Bay, Kansas City. There's so much history ever since that. And then Green Bay's in the middle of nowhere.
That's
come
true.
on, no one knows Wisconsin. But still, you still wouldn't relocate
Yeah.
because that history is so rich in that area, right? Kansas City, New England, all those type of places. You'd think they move, but they really wouldn't. I do see Jaguars potentially moving.
I think more than anything, the NFL wants a team in London. The only problem with that is the
Mhm.
logistics of it. It's who would you put in that division, And
Not even that.
Yeah.
Flying and everything.
and the
you'd
flying,
have to
exactly.
fly
You have
2
to play
days
your
early.
first half of the season on the road, and then the second half of your season at home. So
You think about the struggle every
Yeah.
team would have to face. You got to go fly 20 some hours to London, right? Depending on even where you are. Los Angeles teams have to fly even farther
that would
than
suck.
New England teams, and they'd have to go 2
Yeah.
days before, so they'd miss an extra day of practice or something like that.
Yeah, the
And then
longest
you gotta get,
possible flight
that
route
one.
in the NFL right now is Seattle to Miami. Imagine Seattle to frickin' London. But there's a reason the NFL before COVID was doing 3 London games a year. It's because
It's just
Yeah.
spread out.
they're just testing the waters over in that market, man. They're just trying to see if it'll be successful if they put a team over there.
They're also
only
trying to,
doing it for one reason.
Now they're also trying to like expand like their influence around the world.
Yeah,
I
that's
think
true.
a lot of it comes with revenue too. Like since London, Britain people like they don't have like football teams, right? They're gonna be more inclined to like watch NFL games, right? And they're gonna be more inclined to like get NFL gear and all that, right? So a lot of it just comes under like capital, like kind of like capitalism, but kind of like also like I'm not sure what's that word. Is that when you put imperialism? Not imperialism. I don't think imperialism, but you're expanding over new countries, right? Just to get them more involved in the NFL, possibly for revenue,
Yeah.
possibly for like other factors, right? But I think like money is probably like the biggest reason. I mean, that's in my opinion. At
Yeah,
least.
into that. Someone asked in the chat, why did the Raiders leave Oakland? And I can give you just a
Politics.
quick summary. Yeah, I mean, like, Oakland didn't make an effort to build a stadium, and part of me wants to blame the Raiders ownership, and I think the Raiders ownership sucks. However, Oakland they didn't make an effort to build a stadium. I think Las Vegas is a wacky,
Right.
well, not anymore, but before they moved there, I thought, if the Raiders have to move, just put them in LA. Keep them where they were. Like LA has a very strong Raider fan base. I think the Raiders to this day are the most popular team in LA. If I had to be honest. But it's politics, like you said. The Raiders, a city of Oakland, doesn't like sports, unfortunately. For the fans, there's a lot of dedicated fans. It's not, the Raiders might not have had the best attendance, but that's not why they moved. It was because they're playing in the Coliseum, which I love the Coliseum as a home, but it's not a state-of-the-art stadium. It's no Allegiant Stadium. So
I'll
that's
quickly
pretty
go
much
over my trip to Oakland and the Oakland Coliseum when I went to see the Chiefs game there, man. There's a lot of stuff, and there's a reason Oakland is like known for their fan base and their I don't know, but like, look, man, I fly into Oakland, and the BART train from the airport goes straight to the Coliseum, man. The first step off the
location,
train,
but
the first step off the train, man, I hear a gunshot, bro. Like, not even kidding. Like, somewhere there's a gunshot, man. Oakland, right? Oakland. But, and so, there's that. I get off the train. I'm going down the escalator. The whole hallway's just flooded with black and silver. Jerseys, shirts. I mean, they got these street vendors selling these shirts that read, "Bitch, I'm a Raider. Fuck the Chiefs." like it's all this stuff, man. And then we haven't even gotten to the stadium yet. And so now I walk the bridge to the stadium. Intense smell of marijuana, man. I mean, that's the tailgate party right there, man. I just everybody getting high in the parking lot. So I mean, you just smell a bunch of pot when you go there, and that was funny. I walk into the stadium, and just everywhere I go, I'm wearing my red Mahomes jersey, man. Everywhere I go, I have these Raider fans coming up to me, right in my face, going, "Raiders!" like really loudly, like just harassing the hell out of me. I didn't care. I thought it was hilarious. And then, because I had gone 2 weeks prior to see a baseball game, but that has nothing to do. I mean, you can't even compare that to the Raider games. I mean, so
Raiders were totally that days. Yeah.
And so where I sat, there were a decent amount of Chiefs fans around me. It wasn't like I was in the black hole where there's just all Raiders fans. The black hole, they should label that the splash zone, man. Because if you're going down there as an opposing fan, you will get beer poured on you, and that's just a fact, man.
Oh yeah.
And so I'm sitting there with some Chiefs fans, right? And about the third quarter comes along. This Chiefs fan that I was sitting next to, he had been gone for about 20 minutes. He comes back, and he looks at me, and he's like, "Yeah, man, I was just a concession, and this drunk guy just told me he wants to stab me." I mean, I'm like, "You're surprised, man?" Like, we're talking, this is Raider Nation, man. They're crazy. And so there was that. Game is over. That I will say this: the first quarter, or not even the first quarter, like the first 10 minutes, Raiders had jumped out to a 10-0 lead. That was one of the loudest atmospheres I've ever experienced. It wasn't very loud after the first quarter. I'm sorry, it's Casey, but I mean, Mahomes led at halftime 28-10. So
Yeah.
I mean, it just wasn't a close game. And so, that happens. I'm walking out of the stadium. One of the first things I notice is a drunk guy with his shirt off getting arrested by the police right outside the gates.
Makes
Yeah.
sense.
And so I get on the train
Yeah,
again. I head back to the airport. I'm going through TSA, and the only thing going through my mind is, I just survived Oakland. So that's my story of my Chief Raider game last year.
Yeah, I mean, and things like that, they kind of make me embarrassed to be a Raiders fan sometimes. Obviously, I'm not going to do that. Like, Raider fans, there's a spectrum, in my opinion. Like, you got, like, the crazy fanatics that, and I love passionate fans, but I think Raiders fans can't take it too far. They're known for that, The team's known for that. They're a dirty team.
Yeah, and I mean, some
Yeah.
fans might not like that. And there's a lot of reasons. I mean, that's like one of the reasons that people prefer not to go to the Oakland Coliseum for a game is because of the fan base. Like, they don't want to be harassed or anything. But I feel like if you're a true football fan, you got to get that experience. And that's why, it was the last year being in Oakland, I had to go to that game.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Yeah, and it's funny because you go to an A's game, it's totally different culture than a Raiders game. Like, I mean, you said you went to an A's game, right? Like, nothing compared to that. I mean, you got some drunk people. Pretty much every stadium does. The A's have, they have attendance problems, but the A's, it's pretty chill. I don't know, like, not the greatest area. It's a good location for a stadium right off the BART station, but yeah.
I have a story about that too. A lot shorter. I'm just gonna say it really quickly. The Oakland Athletics, they are the only team, the only fan base that has ever booed me for wearing a Rays jersey. The Rays weren't even playing. The Rays weren't even playing.
Was this last season or the season before?
It was last season.
When Rays took them out in the first round?
That season. No, it was they were playing the Giants. It was Players Weekend. They were playing the Giants. It was like it was September, August or September.
I was in those games weekend, actually. That's funny. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's just like, man, I was just walking around exploring the stadium, I feel like, it's chill because it's baseball, I'm just walking past this A's fan. He starts booing me for wearing a Rays jersey. Nobody's ever done that. The Rays weren't even playing. So I thought that was funny. I looked at him and I laughed, I wasn't even mad about it. But, man, that's two games at the Oakland Coliseum, two different sports, both very, very unique experiences, to say the least.
Yeah. I wish Oracle was still home to the Warriors, but that's completely different because Warriors fans are more of like, A's and Raiders kind of give that grimy image. And like, I mean, obviously like the Warriors, like they kind of like being from the area, they draw more of like a put together crowd, but still like Oracle Arena is in that same complex, like still rowdy fans. I mean, I wish they were still there, but Chase Center is pretty nice. Yeah. If you ever come out, you should go to definitely, I recommend going to a Warriors game and in SF, but yeah, it's just, it's crazy. But yeah, I mean, the Raiders, like, it's part of their image. Like, I'm not necessarily proud of it, but it wouldn't be the Raiders without those crazy fans. So what can I say?
Dude, fans be everywhere nowadays. I was in Atlanta last year before the Super Bowl, and it was before the playoffs started, right? So I was wearing my Rogers jersey coming back from Atlanta to come here. I kid you not, in one day or within like an hour, I saw 10 guys wearing a Packers like gear, right? Like I think majority of them were Rogers jerseys. 2 of them I think were Jordy Nelson jerseys, and I think one of them was like a shirt, and the other one was a Devontae Adams jersey, right? I kid you not, I went up to all 10 of them. I'm like, "Hey, that's what's up." And I just walked by. Literally every guy I saw, I even if it wasn't like near me, I'd run up to them like, "Hey, that's what's up, bro," and I'd just run back with my squad. But I kid you not, like fans be everywhere nowadays, and that's probably like that's a big thing nowadays too, right? Like the expansion of fans, right? People be saying, "Oh, you're a bandwagon. You live in this city. Like you should be this fan, right?" But I mean, it's just like how this is how you connect with the team, like right? Like people like be telling me this year, be like, "Oh, you should be a Bucks fan, bro. Bucks are good. You're only a Packers fan because you're a bandwagon." Blah blah blah. But like, no, bro. Like I've been Packers fan for a long time, mostly because it started off with Aaron Rodgers, right? And like I saw like Aaron Rodgers, like the greatness from it, and like my position, right? Like when I play football, I'm I'm more than likely a QB, right? And so the way I play, right, like I play like Rogers, just not as good. Like I don't take 3-step dropbacks, right? I just go like 1 step, turn my hips, right? I fling the ball. I scan defenses, read the defense, understand what's happening. Right? So I played like that type of play, and so I really I just connected with Rogers and just I don't know, it's been there. And then the Packers just overall just came over me. I'm like, damn.
All right,
Pretty nice.
question,
And I just
question
got
for you
involved.
two.
You're like watching talk shows.
Question for you two.
Who?
Have either of you ever been called a bandwagon, and if so, what was the first time?
Oh, 100%. 100%. I ain't gonna lie. I could probably get it like a couple times a week
A couple times a
from the
week.
same people. A couple times a week from the same people.
Yeah. Not right now at the moment because pretty much 3 out of my 4 teams suck. But Raiders made the play in 2016. I mean, it wasn't anything crazy, but people were kind of saying, oh, because it was like my first year at a new school. And so people were saying I would wear Raiders every day. It's when they had that amazing season. People were saying like, are you really a little Raiders fan? Like, and I'm like, yeah.
But
like,
aren't you in the Oakland area?
Yeah. I mean, because a lot of people are actually Niners. Like a lot of people like even in Oakland, because some people just hate the Raiders. I don't know why. It's just some people just don't like that silver and black image. And I get why people like the Niners. I never liked the Niners, never will. But I have been called it. Like, I mean, for the Warriors, they were a dynasty, so a lot of people were being called bandwagons. But I mean, everyone kind of just liked them. So
yeah, I don't understand the whole bandwagon concept because like bandwagon literally means like you jump from teams depending on how good they are like that year, right? Like, oh, Chiefs won the Super Bowl last year, I'm a Chiefs fan. Patriots won the Super Bowl the year before that, oh, I'm a Patriots fan. Like that's a bandwagon, right? Once you stick with the team, you may not have like the best way of getting to that team originally,
Right.
but like over time, if you're consistently with one team, it's just called loyalty at that point, right?
Exactly.
Like that first year, like yeah, maybe you were a bandwagon because they won the Super Bowl or they got this far in the playoffs, right? But if you're like even through thick and thin, right? If you're like with that team, then eventually you're just like loyal with them, right? Like you shouldn't be called a bandwagon at that point. Which I don't really care because like people say what they want, like people be hating,
At least
Right,
once
it
a
is
month,
really
I
good.
get a comment on a YouTube video of mine saying, "Oh, you're a Chiefs bandwagon." I'm like, "Yep, spend hundreds of dollars on those jerseys. I go to multiple games a year. I watch every single game on TV just because I'm gonna switch to a different team when my team eventually sucks, right?" No, but the first time that I was ever called a bandwagon, it was Mahomes' first season, so it was 2018. I played high school hockey at that time, so I was on my way to the rink to play a game, and I had stopped at a gas station on the way, and so the dude checked me out at the gas station, right? The cashier, he was like, "Oh man, you're not really a Chiefs fan, are you?" And I was like, "Yes, I am." And he was like, "Who was your quarterback before Patrick Mahomes?" I go, "Alex Smith." It was like before that, Matt Castle. He was like, before that, Brody Croyle. How far back do you want me to go, dude? You want me to go back before I was born? Because I can do that all day, man. So I mean, I kind of won that debate there, but no, that was the first time I was ever called a bandwagon. That was funny.
People do
Yeah.
be like that, bro. Everyone's like,
Yeah.
"Oh, history." Like I've had that too, right? Probably not with a gas station, but like I've had a couple of interactions with random people like, "Oh, like, who's your quarterback? Aaron Rodgers. Oh, how many touchdowns has he thrown? I don't know, like this many." Like I would tell them straight up, like I know. Oh, what's his highest passer rating? 122. Who's before Aaron Rodgers? They're far.
When they give you a full fucking quiz, like,
I know,
bro,
like
how does it affect your life so much, man? Like,
Yeah.
What do you get out of calling me a bandwagon, bro? Like,
Exactly,
I'm never gonna
man.
see you. I'm never gonna see you in my life again, bro. Like, chill.
Yeah, I feel like people just call people bandwagoners like when the team's doing well, no matter how long they like them. Going back to the merch thing, like I think I'm like gonna buy all these hats and stuff. And, like,
God
not
damn.
Yeah, man.
What the hell is your collection, bro? I got a jersey and that's it. I'm about to get a flag soon. I ordered one. Damn.
Yeah, flags are. I recommend.
Yeah.
But,
My
yeah.
mom would get pissed if I bought. My mom doesn't like too much gear. I mean, loyal at heart, not really physically. Like I see Brett got that little champions in his background, right? A bunch of different jersey collections. I ain't like that, bro. I'll keep one jersey and I'll keep everything like inside of me. Because I know my mom's crazy, dude. I swear to God. She would never. She would have never.
Oh, man.
She would have never allowed me to get so much gear. Like
That-
I hung up my football jerseys from when I was little. Like when I was playing younger. When I played younger football, right? She walks into my room, sees it, and she's like, "Oh, you got to take that down." I'm like, "Bro, it's my room." And she's like, "No, it doesn't look good, right?" But in her Indian accent, right? In her like language, she's like, "Yeah, it doesn't look good." And I'm like, I don't care. Like it's my room. Like I want to it's memories, you know. Like I play football, I want to hang it up. Like
yeah.
they do. Like you never come in here anyway, so it's whatever. But like she'd get crazy. If I asked her, I'm like, oh, I want a jersey, I want this, I want that, blah blah blah. I would live to see another day.
Yeah.
She would not. She would
Yeah,
not.
It's kind of tying to the bandwagon thing. Do people often question you why you don't like the Buccaneers a lot?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
They're like, yeah. They're like, oh, you don't. They're like, oh, you live in Tampa Bay. Like you should be a Bucks fan. Like I know Bucks haven't been good for the past 10 years or whatever, but they should you should be a Bucks fan, right? You're from here. Well, first of all, I'm not even from here. I'm from San Antonio, so if anything, I'd be a Dallas or a Texans fan. But even then,
Yeah.
no, I don't like the fan basis for any of those teams.
Yeah.
What do you want me to do? I don't respect those teams. Like Dallas, I hate them. I hate Dallas. America's team, fuck you. Texans are
comment
I'm
one time. Sorry.
No, you good. You good.
There's a lag in Discord, man. I don't know when I'm cutting you off or when you're done. But there was this one time I got this comment on one of my YouTube videos. This dude who's a Bucks fan, he was like, "Dude, you have to support the Bucks because most of Tampa's residents are transplants, so you have to support them." I'm like, dude, I can support whoever the hell I want. It's like, who are you to tell me that I have to support a team because I live in that city? It's like, yes, I love the Rays. I love the Lightning, right? Like, I'm going to support those teams, right? But, it's just the way my parents raised me. I mean, my dad, my mom, they both grew up in Missouri, huge Chiefs fans, and so, naturally they're going to raise me a Chiefs fan. And that's just how that worked out, you know what I mean? But, back to, your mom getting mad at you for wearing stuff. Man, I wear Chiefs stuff every single day, and not even just Chiefs stuff, man. Like, I'm talking not Bucks, Lightning and Rays too. Like, I can't remember the last time I wore a shirt that wasn't sports. You know what I mean? And it's funny because my mom gets pretty pissed at me too because she wants me to wear normal stuff, whatever. And I'm like, and we'll go on vacation sometimes, and she'll see my suitcase, and it's just packed with 20 Chiefs shirts, 5 jerseys, 30 hats. Not that much, that's exaggerated, but you get the point. And she'll be like, "Are you fucking kidding me? Like, you gotta wear that every single day." I'm like, "Yes,
Dude, that's
yes,
too much,
Mom, I
that's
love
too much
sports."
gear, bro. Don't get me wrong. Yeah. I love I'll watch any sports, right? Like football, hockey, basketball, baseball. I'll watch any sports. But I ain't that crazy to get that much stuff, bro. At one point I'm just yeah, gear's cool and all, but I already got a jersey. I might get a hat, right? But it doesn't even matter.
Yeah, it's an addiction for me. I mean,
it is. It is, bro.
For me it's different because I think I've said this before. I'm kind of anti Las Vegas Raiders merch.
Yeah.
And that's just because I want it to make sense. All the teams I like have Oakland identity / Bay Area. So pretty much it's a scavenger hunt. This says Oakland, right? I want every Raiders thing I own to either have no city name on it or Oakland. Pretty much every Raider I don't own a single Las Vegas thing. And so for me, it's when I find that, I'm like, oh, I have to get it because in 5 to 10 years, Raiders Oakland merch will be extinct. So
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, you get hooked on it. It's like a drug. But yeah, it's just there's always going to be a new style for you, Brett. Obviously, 3 of your teams were in the championship this year or last year, I guess rather. So you're gonna splurge on it. And when the Warriors made it 3 times in 5 years, that was me. I was broke.
Yeah, man. I spent more than I want to think about on Chiefs stuff and Lightning stuff combined, way too much. But you know what? I mean, I've been waiting my whole life to see that, so of course I'm gonna go crazy for it.
Yeah.
I actually got a comment in this chat saying, "Were your parents living in Missouri when the Rams were in St. Louis?" I just looked it up in the meantime there, and no, they were there when they were still in LA the first time around, and they moved out right before they relocated to St. Louis. So
every time
someone asked.
Yeah, someone asked me if I have a Raiders windbreaker. That's funny. I actually have a windbreaker for every team except for the Raiders. So there you go. I have a lot of Raiders
My only
and stuff like that.
windbreaker, believe it or not, is Oklahoma City Thunder.
That's funny.
Yeah.
I got an A's one and I got a Warriors one.
Yeah, but I gotta get one. See, I don't work. So like, I'm not like my mom gets me everything from my dad. And I'm like, I'm spoiled that way, you know. But like, in a sense, like every time I get so like I'm just scared to ask my parents for things. You know, like that's not really important because my parents are Indian, bro. They're like money, like they're like weird with money. You know, they're just like they'll give me a money lecture. I swear to God, like every time I'll ask them for something, they'll give me a money lecture. Oh, is this really necessary? Oh, go start working and see how hard it is to get money, and then talk about like getting stuff, right? Like I'm like, no, I want to get a job. Like I just want this, right? But at the end of the day, like I really like they got a point. You know, like I don't really need it. Like I mean, if you're investing in it, then that makes sense. Like in a couple of years, like Oakland stuff is going to be like expensive, you know, because like nothing's going to exist from Oakland. So like if you're investing in it, it makes sense. But like if you just want it just for like whatever, then like I mean I kind of get their point. Like, oh, you don't really need it.
Yeah.
But it's like at the end of the day, like you still want it, you know?
No, man.
Yeah.
It's like
it's not just clothes. There's collectibles. There's bobbleheads. You know, it's everything. And then the guy in the chat talking about the Raiders stuff. Just want to show you this LA Raiders Super Bowl champion shirt. So
my man got everything, yo.
But he a real fan, bro.
Yeah.
Bro, Casey's room is just like fucking littered with his sports stuff, man. Like it's crazy.
Bro, you seen that one guy on TikTok with the Dallas man cave?
No.
Oh yeah,
that thing was like
I saw
was insane. He had every
a-
single thing you could look at. It had a Cowboys logo on it. The window, he had like a Cowboy. He had like a huge ass like field goal post, Cowboys logo on it. He had a ping pong table, Cowboys logo on it. He had a couch, Cowboys logo on it. Like, bro.
Yeah, I saw that.
He had a standing like fake, like, huh?
I saw a guy like that who had a Packers version.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
I saw that one too. That one was crazy as hell. Like, I kid you not, like every single thing he had, Cowboys logo on it. Like carpet Cowboys. Like it's literally straight up said Dallas Cowboys. And it showed the logo.
Yeah.
Like people be wilding, bro. But that's like the caption was like, oh, my dad's a huge Cowboys fan. And then someone wrote in the comments, I saw the comments, and it was like, anyone gonna tell him how the Cowboys lost that weekend? This shit was so funny.
How about them Cowboys? That's like my favorite meme ever, man.
Yeah. Every year they say it's gonna be their year.
Every single year, man. And man, when Hurricane Harvey happened, I think that's what it was called back in Houston. There were pictures of the stores, and literally every like styrofoam cooler was sold out except for the ones that had Cowboys logos on them. Nobody bought those. And so
I love those memes.
Yeah. Oh man.
It's funny. I love how you could hate such a team like that much. Like it's so like it's just amusing. Like
so funny.
Like
so funny. It's like
you would ever expect like someone to hate a fan base or like someone to hate an organization so much. Everyone hates the Cowboys.
That's the one thing that all 31 besides the Cowboys fan bases have in common is we can all
hate the
Cowboys together.
This is way too funny, bro.
So good, man.
Yeah. I'm not a Texas. I mean, I respect the Spurs obviously because like San Antonio, my opinion is different. But like, I don't know the whole thing. I think me and like Brett, you could agree. I mean, you guys in the ALDS. There are division rivals, the Astros. Just like that was the end of the line for me with Texas, but. And then the Houston Rockets, for me, I dislike a lot because Warriors kind of have a rivalry with them. But, yeah.
Oh, yeah. And I don't hate on Texas, mostly because I'm from there. But I respectively can't hate on them. I don't have a problem with the Cowboys organization, but they do get so annoying, bro. Oh, this is our year. Oh, we're going to win the Super Bowl this year. Oh, Dak. And all that drama with the organization is just like, bro, you don't need it. Like, pay Dak. Like, Jesus. Like, Like pay him, bro. Like that's a big controversy. Like some people say he doesn't deserve it. I don't think he deserves it. I do think they should pay him though that much. Just because he is a franchise quarterback, he does put up insane numbers for when he's playing. Like he had 500 yards in a game. Like that's unreal, right? And you got an ass defense, and you're like often like Dak Prescott's still trying to like get you guys in the game. Like that says something for like that speaks volume. Like and, yeah, he knows Patrick Mahomes. Yeah, he doesn't deserve more than Patrick Mahomes or Deshaun Watson, but I still think that Jerry Jones should pay him, especially since he paid people like Amari Cooper who like half-asses all his routes, or Ezekiel Elliott who like gives up on the team halfway if he doesn't have over like 50 rushing yards. You know, like Dak actually tries. Like he goes out there, he tries to perform his best every week. Like everyone else, you're paying. Oh, they don't even care about this game anymore. Like Zeke will get mad. He'll be like, "Oh, I want to sit out if he doesn't get like 10 rush attempts or something like that." Amari Cooper went up to New England last year and just like quit. He was walking on half of his routes. So like people like that, you can't pay him. And like if you're gonna look at Dak Prescott, like he has heart for the game, you know. So I say pay the man. But like coming off this injury, like they're gonna have to see what they could do with him because like that's gonna be a big like thing. Like if he's not playing well, then like yeah, don't pay him. But like if he's coming back stronger, then like I'd pay him.
So I've got an interesting question in the chat here from Hannah. They want to know, do girls truly even know football? Just wondering for one of my bros. We are having an argument. I think they don't, but he thinks they do.
No, I have no idea.
I like that question.
Me too, but
I mean, I mean, you probably have maybe. Oh man, I don't even know. I mean, you probably have like the owners, the players, and the general managers and the coaches' wives who know football. But I mean, we're talking like ordinary like female just sitting down and watching watching a game. No, they're probably like go team and like, oh, what's that penalty for? What the hell's pass interference? I don't even know, man. I would say that. Do girls truly know football? Yeah, I mean you have your women who do watch football, but do they know? Do they keep up with everything like playing fantasy and keeping up with stats like me and Kanav do 24/7? No, they don't exist.
well, okay, that part is kind of like I'm not gonna disagree with you, but I do know a couple of like people who do because like I was having this conversation with this one girl on Instagram. Like she went deep into football, bro. She's a huge Josh Allen fan, right? And like why not? Like I post hella stuff about Packers on my story, bro. She's the same. Like she'll post so much like she'll post so many Bills Mafia stuff on her story and all that. Like she crazy. Like she knows her stuff. Like, oh, Josh Allen this, Josh Allen that. Oh, the Bills this, Bills defense. Oh, I don't think the Browns will win this, or like whatever the case may be, right? So I think I'm gonna go with 7% of the gross population in America.
Wow.
No football.
Okay. Well, look, obviously there are women out there who do keep up and do know their stuff. Have I ever met one? Probably not.
I've met a couple, bro. You'd be surprised.
I've met women who are football fans, but like I'm talking like keeping up 24/7, like knows most of the players on the team, knows the statistics going into the games and who's favorites, this, that, how you're gonna do realistically in the play, like getting deep into.
Oh, you talking like 100% knowledge? Nah, bro.
I'm talking like deep into it, man. Like.
Oh no.
Like I know girls who watch football and have teams, but I don't know anybody who's like deep into that like football conversation. I don't even know.
Yeah, if you're breaking it down that much, I ain't gonna say 7%. I'll say probably 2%. Like people who go deep in, like know every stat line and like or know like a lot of stat lines, know a lot of players, how they play and all that stuff. I'll go 2%. One of them includes Cynthia Fruland.
Oh my God. All right. Hannah says, okay, so 2 out of 3. What's the other one's opinion? So she wants us to shut up and wants to hear Casey talk.
God, I don't know. Yeah, I guess from my own personal experience, I don't know any. So I guess there probably are some, like you guys said, but I don't know any. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's just weird. Like,
Can't
I'd love
forget
to
about-
have a conversation with a girl one day. Like, no cap. Like, it'd be so interesting. Like, someone who actually, like, a girl who actually knows football. Like, it'd be interesting to have a conversation with them.
I think so too.
Like, you're always talking like, if like you're talking about like a girl who like likes football or like whatever. It's like, oh yeah, this. I'll be like, oh, did you see like Demario Davis got like 8.5 sacks yesterday? He put up like he got an interception and a fumble recovery and all this stuff. Be like, who? What did he do? Like, like that ain't fun. Like, oh, this guy entered with like 14th in the league in yards per attempt or this and that. Like, I'll be excited about football. Like, oh yeah, I know who that is. Josh Allen, Bills, Deshaun Watson, Texans. Like, no, that's not fun anymore, right? But like when you go, if you could go deep into conversations about football, be like, oh, did you see Josh Allen with that 75-yard bomb to Diggs, whatever, or did you see his record breaking like 100 touchdown passes in the season? Like that's then it'd be interesting. Like I always talk like to guys about this because like guys know football, like guys love football. Like having a conversation with a girl would just be weird, but it'd be like a good type of weird. It'd be like different, you know?
Bro, I don't know about you
Yeah, it'd
guys,
change.
but like tomorrow and Sunday, I'm gonna be sitting my ass down on my couch, and I'm just gonna be watching.
Oh, I'm
football
busy.
for 10 hours. Both
I wish I
days.
could, man.
Yeah.
I wish I could.
I'm just gonna
Dude.
enjoy it, man.
And so I'm kind of pissed, but like I don't really care that much. Okay, so I gotta wake up at 9:45, like in about like a couple hours, and I have a call on Zoom for one of my religion stuff, and then 12:30 I have another Zoom call from 12:30 to 3:30, and then after that I'm probably gonna watch football. But then I think at night I'm going to USF to watch the Bucks game. So like USF has these like learning centers or whatever, or like these like classrooms you could just go into. Like people don't really care if you go into the classrooms. So we just like for the Lightning championship game against Dallas, we just went into one of these rooms and just played it on the projector.
Wow.
And we just watched. But then we also watched them lose.
Ah.
That's whatever, you know. But like,
Yeah.
I don't know. We're considering going at night to watch the Bucks game, but like I'm probably gonna watch. I'm just gonna keep my phone up and watch the game while the Zoom presentation's going on because like you know
Yeah.
football, man. Like you gotta watch. I really want to watch the Bills Colts.
It's
game.
like it's a short period of time once a year, and it's like personally, I think football playoffs are the best playoffs of any sport. You know,
Oh,
it's one and done. It's always dramatic.
It's hyped. It's so hyped. I
Yeah,
love
for
the
real.
hype for football,
Me
especially
too.
in playoffs. Like it's just a vibe. Like, oh, you get like one chance to do it. If you don't like complete it, you gotta wait like 8 months to like retry again. You know,
Mhm.
and then you gotta go through a whole season just to get back to where you were. You know,
Mhm.
but like this
Yeah.
is the vibe. Like every other team is like, oh, you get 4 chances to like try to win, right? Like, yay, you get 4 opportunities. This one's just like you fuck up, you go home type of thing. So like I kind of that's the one thing. This is the biggest thing I like about football playoffs. It's
Yeah.
like once you're done, you're done.
All right. Well.
Yeah, and you have one bad game, you're screwed.
Oh yeah, it's like you always got to be good. Like Lightning or like any other NBA, right? Like you could have an off day, right? Kucherov may not score,
Exactly.
or like if you're playing basketball, right? Someone may not drop 20 points, but the next game they'll just bounce back. But if you're looking at like Aaron Rodgers or Patrick Mahomes, if they go like 50% completion, 2 interceptions, have like one bad day, right? That could cost them the game, right? That could cost them their season. And so like to have to wait like 8-9 months for another season to return, that's just like that hurts, man. It is painful to like wait an entire like other season
Yeah,
just to
exactly.
like get back to where you were and more.
Exactly.
It's painful, especially when you know like you were that close to winning like the Super Bowl and you got sent home because of
Yeah.
like of one bad day.
Yeah, it happened to me 2 years ago when the Chiefs lost the AFC Championship because D Ford was offsides.
Oh,
That was the
That-
worst. And then
That
you know what? I think if the Chiefs would have won the overtime coin toss, I think we would have won the game too. So we lost
Yeah.
because of D4, but then we had our
Yeah.
second chance on the 50-50 coin toss, and we lost that. So
I
we
felt
just,
your pain then, bro.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
When D4 jumped off sides, I felt your pain. I'm like, damn, Chiefs fan out there, bro. They're probably so pissed right now because like he jumped off. Like that's
Yeah.
gotta hurt, bro.
It was a
you
long
guys know the
off
Tuck
season.
rule, right?
Yeah, I've seen
Tuck rule.
it. Yeah.
Yeah, perfect example. Pretty much the reason Tom Brady is Tom Brady. I mean, if you want to, I mean, he doesn't win that game. Who knows what happens? And it's because of a Bad call. If the NFL did a series system, just like, the NBA, MLB, and NHL, who knows what would have happened? Raiders were a powerhouse.
Yeah.
Jerry Rice was on the team. We had Charles Woodson making that tackle, fumble, not called. But, yeah.
Man.
And man, Charles Woodson, a longtime Packer, bro. He ain't no Raiders.
All right, man. I got one more question for you too, man. And then I'm gonna end off this live stream, bro. It's like 2 a.m. now. I mean, not for Casey, but for me and Kanav, it is. I gotta get some sleep soon.
Yeah.
All right. So to end off this stream, the biggest question, $1 million question. All right, who's winning the Super Bowl?
Oh, Packers. We're all gonna go our teams.
I got Chiefs, bro. I got Chiefs. So you said. So you got Packers. I got Chiefs. Casey's Raiders aren't in the playoffs, so he gets to be the only unbiased guy here.
I'm going Buffalo.
Buffalo,
you might disagree with this, but yeah, I'm just going Buffalo. I want to see them win it. They lost 4 Super Bowls in a row. Go back to the
top
NBA.
3 powerhouses in the playoffs, bro.
Man.
Dog matter picks.
All right, man. Well, regardless, it's going to be a hell of a weekend, man. I'm so excited for it. I'm going to be just cracking a Pepsi all day long, man. Resting my lazy ass up. Nah, it's going to be exciting as hell.
For next week, gonna be interesting to see who comes out.
Oh, yeah. All right, well, shout out to Casey for joining the stream, man. You can go check out his channel, AsRaidersDubsSharks. And then you have Kanav over here. He doesn't have YouTube, but you could just say bye, Kanav. You know what I mean? That's a shout out. So thank you for tuning in. I will see you in the next stream, next video, whatever it is. And yeah, that's it, man. Peace out.